Hello! Hello, everyone! How are you guys doing tonight? Take on a second. Put this up here. Hello, Cobbs! How are you doing? Put this right. Ah, it's a bad thing about using the phone is for chat. I have no room in my desk. It's either in the way or on the edge about to fall. There's no in between. Yes, but how was everybody's day? We had a good day today. I think. I got dragged around places outside for too long. It's fucking disgusting. That was fine. Demon Knights. Ah, I think what Demon Knights? What's that about? It sounds so familiar. Just can't place what it is. But that sounds good. Dale and Tucker versus Evil. I've always seen the poster for that, but I never actually watched the movie itself. It looks fun. That's it. I didn't really watch anything today. I watched Bride of Frankenstein yesterday, and that was just a fun treat to always go back to. It's a blast. It looks like it. Oh, I'm tired. Stretch it out. Should stretch before I sat down in this uncomfortable chair. I need to get a new chair, but I don't have the money for it. Well, I do and I don't. It's just nothing you want to spend all the way. Tales from the Crypt. I still have not watched Tales of the Crypt. Tales of the Crypt. Or nothing but Creep Show. Uh, yeah, I done about Creep Show. I've seen the Creep Show, the show on Shudder, but I haven't finished. I never actually watched the original movies. Um, that's right. I started watching VHS 85 the other day. I didn't finish it because I literally put it on. Had to leave the house a minute later. I might do that. Might do that tonight. Depends how long this takes. They said this is the shortest chapter in Higurashi, so it shouldn't take that long. But this is where we get a little bit more of the bigger reveals about Rika and all the stuff with Oyashiro-sama. This is because this is technically the end of the question arcs. Then atonement is the start of the answer arcs. Yeah, I cannot wait. So we might make a change to the schedule. Not that we're going to change anything around on what I have set up, but we are probably going to add a Spider-Man here and there. So what I'm probably going to do is on either Tuesday or Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, maybe two of those days. I'm probably going to go live early, so probably around 9 a.m. where I am. So that's a pretty early stream, but because I just want to play more Spider-Man. I can't wait till next. I can't wait till next Friday. I can't. Well, let's jump in, shall we? Yes, sir. Okay, so last where we left off, not Rika, it was Akasaka. Akasaka just woke up from the hospital, feeling all aches and pains and everywhere because he got the heck crap beat out of him by those thugs. And he woke up in Ire Clinic, and he's just so excited to check on Ire that he went to the payphone in the hospital, but it's out of order, and he didn't want people to overhear his conversation, so he went into the he left the hospital in his still gown and everything, and is now going to find the only other payphone in Hinamizawa to try to speak to Yuri before by the end of the day, because if you've been paying attention, she's about to give birth any day soon, any day. She's about to give birth pretty soon. Let me scoop this back. Can't scoot it back. I'm gonna slid you right here. If I need to reach out, I was turning my head sideways. Finding the payphone wasn't as easy as the person at the hospital had suggested. Was it still up ahead? Did I miss it already? Was I going farther away? Just as I was about to be crushed by the wave of uncertainty, towering over me, I found a shop on the corner with cigarettes written on a small sign. My joy spurred me onwards. Just as I heard at the hospital, set next to the counter of the cigarette shop was an antique payphone. I wasn't wearing a watch, so I didn't know what time it was. I probably didn't have much left though. But it was enough. Just as long as I could tell Yuki my job was done, and I would be coming home soon. Picking up the receiver, I slid a coin down the slot. But I felt that something was strange, just like at the hospital. Even after inserting the coin, the phone showed no response. I hung up the receiver and tried putting in the coin one more time. But there was absolutely no response. This phone was dead. It couldn't be. Let me check the mic real quick. Alright. I want to check audio. Super real quick. Sorry about the break. Okay, is everything going good? Let's turn up just a smidge. Game audio is working fine. Let's put it up a smidge. Okay. Thinking it couldn't be. Thinking that, I felt along the cord that protruded from the back of the phone. Doing that, my hand found the end of a completely severed line. What is this? Having now had the same thing happen twice, my bafflement was accompanied by a sense of unease. It seemed that the cord had been severed cleanly by a sharp blade of some sort. And I may be mistaken, but it didn't look like much time had passed since it was cut. Excuse me. Hello? Opening up the boot window to the tobacco shop, I looked for someone in the dimly lit interior. Eventually, there was the sound of somebody plodding down the stairs, and an old lady appeared. The old lady's plodding and lethargic steps, for some reason, only served to make me more frantic.
タバコですかいね。
You need cigarettes?
小さま
I'll
でねん
get
と
my
わがねの
husband.
じゃ。
I'm
not here to buy cigarettes.
あの、
Rather,
この電話が
this phone here. Realizing that saying the phone was broken and asking them to take a look at it was going to get me nowhere, I swallowed back my words.
この電話が壊れてるみたいな
Sorry.
別
It
の
seems
公衆
that
電
this
話があ
phone
る
is
ところを
broken,
教えてもらいたい
and I
の
was
ですが
wondering if you could tell me where another payphone, if there's another payphone. The old lady moved her jaw up and down slowly, as if chewing on the meaning of my words. It seemed that she wouldn't understand until she had digested things thoroughly.
電話
So,
壊れてますかいね。
the phone is broken.
そんな
That's
難
a
儀だ
dilly
わ。
of a pickle.
他の公衆電話を当たってください。
You should try another payphone. The old lady directed me to another payphone that seemed quite a ways away. Her way of telling me was so long-winded that I inadvertently started to get impatient. At that moment, I spotted a clock in the dim interior of the store. The minute hand was just about to point straight up. Even if there was a phone right here that I could use, I would only be able to tell Yuki good night with the time I had left. On top of that, my destination was a remote payphone, which I didn't know the exact distance to. If it was a normal state of mind, deciding to give up on the phone today would have been the natural thought process. But at that moment, I had become somewhat stubborn, for some reason. Unable to use the phone in the hospital, and coming out here and still being unable to use one. There was no mistaking that I had become quite insistent on using a phone.
どうもありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
その電話ボ
I'll
ック
try looking
ス
for
探してみます。
that phone booth. Refusing her offer to draw me a map, I left the tobacco shop. According to the old lady, even though the phone booth was quite far away, it would be easy to find. If I just follow this road straight down, I'd eventually find it. Sandals flapping as I ran, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. I'll admit that I was quite steadfast about calling Yuki. But there were days when I was tired or busy when I wouldn't call her. Even today, my entire body was covered with injuries, and I was dead tired. On top of that, there wasn't much time left. It would be strange at all if today was one of those days I didn't call her. But having twice been foiled by trying to call her, had I become hot-headed about it? Was I like a dog who was being told to stay with a piece of food dangled in my face?
何やってんだろうな。
What am I doing? Even so, I somehow couldn't quell that uneasy feeling sitting in the pit of my stomach. It was like that with the hospital phone, and the same with the one at the tobacco shop. Both cords were definitely not severed from being frayed by long years of use. The clean cuts indicated that someone had taken something sharp and deliberately cut them. But who? And for what reason? The more I thought about it, the more uneasy I felt, so I tried to push the thoughts aside. How much had I run so far? The scenery around me was no longer that of a shopping district, with residential buildings scattered about the lonely road. The surroundings had already grown dark. I was blatantly out too far for a quick phone call, and it was quite obvious I was far removed from the hospital. I recall the clock I saw at the tobacco shop. It might almost be time. I had run for quite a bit, so my breathing had grown quite ragged. If I had just wanted to hear Yuki's voice, I should have just thrown away my reservations and borrowed the phone in the office. I regretted it a little. Well then, it was about time to give up. Just when I thought that, I saw the light in front of me. I had finally found it. It was a phone booth. It seemed that the light in the phone booth had recently been changed. It is shown with a vivid white light. Although the gloom of Hinamizawa, it was nothing more than a gathering spot for moths. But in any case, I finally found it. As my hand touched the door of the phone booth, I realized that I was breathing and sweating heavily. I didn't know what time it was right now, but even if it was just for a moment, I might be able to get in touch with Yuki. Since I had spent all this effort getting here, turning it back without even giving it a try is out of the question. Before I picked up the receiver, another wave of uneasiness washed over me. I was worried that this phone cord might be severed as well. How was the cord in this phone booth? Squatting down, I followed the bundle of cables as they ran along the corner into the ceiling. At a glance, nothing was out of the ordinary. I ran my fingers as far as I could along the line to check it out. But the only thing they found was a thick layer of dust. Nothing out of the ordinary. I wonder if it was popular in Hinamizawa to cut the cords of payphones as some sort of tasteless prank. It might be prudent to talk to Oshi-san about this later. If it was nothing more than a prank, it was still vandalism of public property. In any case, this one was fine. This time. Pulling out a coin from my pocket with one hand, I picked up the receiver with the other. But this time, before the receiver even reached my ears, I felt something was off. The receiver was light. It was more than a slightly unpleasant feeling. It was almost sickening. To verify my source of displeasure, I peered at the receiver in my hand with a measure of reluctance.
なんだよ。
What the hell is this? The coil of cord that connected the receiver to the rest of the phone had been ripped apart, the tip of the cable swaying in the air. It was all I could do to restrain myself as a raw and unpleasant feeling worked its way up the small of my back. It was a type of dread. At that moment, I heard the crunch of somebody stepping on gravel. The light was reflecting off the glass walls of the booth, leaving me unable to see outside into the darkness. I steeled myself and stepped out of the phone booth. The inside of the booth was lit with that strong light, which might have made it warmer in there. Just stepping outside, I could feel a chill wash over me. And there was the silhouette of a person. A small silhouette.
君は
The long hair of that silhouette was blown about by the cooler breeze.
怪我人が病院を抜け出してはいけないのですよ。
Injured people shouldn't be sneaking out of the hospital. Injured people shouldn't be sneaking out of the hospital. Somewhere in my head, I knew who this girl was. I didn't have any basis for it, but I knew that she was that girl.
ねえ、赤坂。
Right? Akasaka? She, Rika Furude, said that almost like it was a warning.
君が
Did you
電話の
do
コー
this
ド
to the
を
phone cord? Her expression remained unchanged, and my question was left unanswered. In other words, no response. Regardless, I felt that she had affirmed my suspicions.
どうして
Why
こんなことをするんだ
would you do something like this?
どうして
Why? The last word had a tinge of anger behind it. I frantically tried to smooth things out, but she didn't seem very afraid.
もうどうにもならないことです。
There's nothing that can be done.
Yeah.
Huh? I interpreted her words as meaning that I wasn't going to be in time for calling hours at the hospital. But thinking about it, that would have been a strange thing to say. Why would she know something like that? I could take what she said to have any other meaning. She just stood there like a mannequin, not even moving an inch. Almost to the point that if the wind wasn't occasionally rustling through her long hair, there would be an illusion that time had stopped.
赤坂が私を
I know very
気味悪
well.
く思っているのがよくわかる。
I know very well that you think I'm creepy, Akasaka.
ああいや
I,
そんなことないよ
That's not true. My denial came out almost like a bad piece of compost. that piece composed for a poetry slam. But her words were right on the mark. I always felt something ominous and uncanny about her, ever since her strange threats at the shrine. She had noticed that my expression was contrary to my words, seemingly laughing at the gap between them.
赤坂の怖がり
Akasaka, you coward. I'm
怖がってなんかいないよ。
not a coward. Being laughed at by this small child didn't sit well with me. So I said that.
もう電話を探しても
Even if you find another
手遅れ
phone,
の時間です
it's too late.
そうだな。
That's right. She didn't even have to say it. I was absolutely too late. I may have already missed calling hours, even by the time I reached this phone booth. I was too late. I had no option but to give up for today. Once I decided that my unhealthy obsession with phones suddenly faded. Even I thought that it was strange that I was that obsessed. That strange obsession now gone, I began to laugh at how hopeless I was. I mean, just look at what I was wearing. It wasn't normal. A hospital gown and sandals, my head wrapped in bandages, and my body completely soaked in sweat. It was a wonder that the old lady at the tobacco shop wasn't surprised to see me. With wanting to hear Yuki's voice as my motive, I had I have moved around the town the entire evening. I didn't know whether to call it follies of youth or simple plain embarrassing. In any case, it was all I could do but to laugh at myself.
もうこれで
Now,
今夜赤
there's
坂が
nothing
す
left
る
for
ことは
Akasaka
何
to
もないで
do
す
tonight.
そうだな。
You're right.
もう何もないよ。
There's nothing.
おとなしく病院へ引き上げるさ。
Oh, just quietly return to the hospital.
それがいいのですよ
That's fine.
病院への道は
Do you
わ
know
か
the
りま
way?
すですか
わかるつもりだよ。
I hope I do. She waved her little hand as I began to head back the way I came. She began to follow alongside me. Looking at her face, I could see that she wore a mischievous smile, as if she was extremely interested in whether or not I would get lost.
リカちゃんの家もこっちの方向なのかい？
Is Rika-chan's house also this way?
なのですよ
It is.
こんな時間に一人
Won't
で
your
表
parents
を
be
歩いて
mad
ると
that you're walking
ご
around
両親に怒
alone
られたりし
at
ない
this
かい？
hour?
別に怒られませんです
Not really.
今日はご両親は忙し
My
い日な
parents are
ので
busy today.
僕のこと
So
など
they
忘
probably
れていま
forgot
すで
about
す
me.
よ
それでも帰った方がいい。
Even then, it's best if you head home.
きっと怒るよ。
They'll definitely be angry.
それでも赤坂とおしゃべり
Even
す
if they
る方
are,
が面白いのでい
it's
い
much more
のです
interesting to talk with you, Akasaka. So I'm fine. She said that with a face free from worry as she looked up at me once more and smiled. When she showed me that smile, that eerie feeling surrounded her facade. But even then, she was still as mysterious to me as ever. As we arrived at the corner I turned at earlier, but it was much darker than before. With the point of view change on the return trip, I wasn't very confident that this was actually the corner I turned at. There was no mistake. It had to be this corner. As I began to move my feet again, the girl grabbed onto my clothes.
赤坂は病院へ戻るのではないのですか
Akasaka going back to the hospital?
もちろん
Of course.
戻るつもりだ
At
よ。
least, I intended to.
道
Am I going the wrong
間
way?
違えた？
A short moment of silence. Eventually, still holding onto my clothes, she began to walk. It was the beginning of the walk to the hospital this mysterious girl would take me on. What? Why is she looking at the camera like that? I don't like it.
電話のコードを切って回って
The
たの
person who was running
リカちゃん
around,
だろ？
cutting all the phone cords, was you, wasn't it, Rika-chan?
ダメだよ。もうしちゃ。
You shouldn't do that anymore.
僕には何のことか
I'm
よくわ
not
かりませんの
sure
です
what
よ。
you're talking about.
本当にかい？
Really? She tried to play dumb, but it was written all over her face.
ニパ
Bah. It was obvious that she was trying to laugh it off, but that adorable smile of hers just made me want to forgive her. Ah, I'm going to be a horrible father, aren't I? That moment, a lapse in intention was erased by her next words.
ー、孫、無事に見つかってよかったです。
Oh, it's good they found the grandson safe and sound. Unable to respond right away, I sunk into silence. I had already learned this from Sato-san's info, didn't I? This girl, no, this entire village, knew everything since the moment I set foot in it. I considered playing dumb, but in the end, I chose not to. With everything being known already, there was no point in me feigning ignorance.
なんとかね。
Somehow.
それはよかったです。
That's great.
これで東京に帰れますですよ。
Now you can go back to Tokyo.
ありがとう。
Thank you.
赤坂の怪我はひどいのですか？
Are your injuries bad, Akasaka?
さあ、
Don't know.
ひどいのかど
I
う
haven't
か。
heard anything from the doctor yet,
医者の診察を聞いてないか
so
ら
I
わからな
don't
いな。
know if there are not. Huh? Come to think of it, I vaguely remember being told to lie down and take it easy for at least 24 hours. Did that mean bed rest? Of course it did, boy. Of course it did.
怪我人は病院を抜け出しては
The
いけないの
wounded
ですよ。
should be sneaking out of the hospital.
電話のコードだって切っちゃいけないんだぞ。
People shouldn't be cutting phone cords.
みー、
Hmm,
僕には何のことやらわから
I
ない
have
の
no
です。
idea what you're talking about.
じゃあこっちだって何のことか
Then
わ
I
から
don't
ないや。
know what you're talking about either. As we played dumb with each other, we both laughed at the same time. If somebody saw us like laughing like this, it'd probably bring a smile to their lips.
赤坂が
The chances of
生きて
Akasaka
この
leaving
村を
this
出られ
village
る確
alive
率は
weren't
決して高くありませんでした。
Huh?
僕は赤坂に死んでほしくはないので、生きて村を出ることができて嬉しいです。
I don't want Akasaka to die, so I'm glad you're leaving the village alive.
リカちゃん、
Rika-chan,
最初っから
you knew who
私
I
の正体は
was
知ってたんだろ？
right from the beginning, didn't you? She said nothing, but gave a firm nod.
なら分かっていると思うけど、
I think you know
私た
this,
ちはこの村の
but we're probably
どちら
somewhat
かというと
of an enemy to the
敵
people
の
of this
部類に入る
village,
と思
I would think.
う。なのに君は
But you still
いろいろ
gave
と
me
忠告
lots
して
of
くれたね。
warnings. That's right. She said it at that time. She wouldn't warn somebody that she was okay with dying. She definitely said something like that.
なら
Then
私は
I
君に
should probably
感謝するべきな
be
のかもしれないね。
thanking you.
感謝した方がいいのですよ。
You probably should.
僕は命の恩人なのです。
I'm your savior. Saying that, she puffed up her chest proudly. She said it jokingly, but the meaning behind those words was quite heavy. That's because I lived or died with a decision that might have been made in a place unknowns to me. She said those words with such an adorable smile that it took a few moments of silence for their weight to settle in. I've been to this place before. The guardian's office was there. It was those stone steps leading to the Frude shrine. When I passed by before, I was so focused on finding a phone booth, I hadn't realized where I was.
確かこの神
If
社
I
がリ
recall
カちゃんの家だ
correctly,
ったよね。
this shrine is Rika-chan's house, right?
まあそんなものです
Yeah, something like that. Looking up at the shrine grounds, it was brightly lit and energetic. Voices could be heard. What was going on?
今日はお祭りの日なのですよ
There's a festival today.
お祭り
A festival.
ひなみ沢村の唯
The
一で
best
一
and
番のお
only
祭り
festival in Hinamizawa.
綿流しのお祭り
The
です
Watanagashi Festival.
わた
Watanagashi? Cotton drifting?
祭りなんて名ばかりの
Just knowing
つ
the
まらないも
name
のですよ
is boring.
見ますですか
Do you want to take a look? She asked bluntly. But seeing that I looked interested, she climbed up a couple of steps and motioned for me to come. I was only going to go back and sleep anyways. If I had nothing else to do, it might not be a bad idea to go with her on a little detour. In the hostile territory that was this village, I didn't know what would happen if I ventured down a side road without Oshi. Even though I thought of this village like that, when I was with this girl, I forgot all about it. In any case, even without anything to back it up, I felt like as long as I was with her, none of the ill will from the village would befall me. That's why, even though I knew my cover was blown, I strangely had no qualms about setting foot into the heart of the Onifukuchi Guardian's territory. Climbing up the grounds of the shrine, I could see there were about 3 pavilions set up, with meeting tables and folding chairs. The old folks from the village, no, the executives of the Guardians, were already quite drunkenly sharing another round of drinks. I could see it as people from the village council drinking while enjoying the evening air. At the very least, it was certainly quite different than any festival I've ever seen.
ね
See?
つまんないお祭りでしょ
It's quite boring festival, isn't it?
これは
It certainly
確かに
doesn't
お
look
祭
like
りには
a
見えないね。
festival.
大昔からずっと続いてきたお
It's a
祭りで
festival
す
that
が
that's happened since long ago.
すっかり寂れてしまったのですよ
It's not like it used to be. As if to chide the old folks, she said that while looking at them with exasperated expression. You really couldn't call this a festival anymore. It was just a bunch of neighbors getting together to drink under the guise of a festival.
これじゃ
I
祀られる
feel
神様
sorry
も
for the
気の毒
deity
だな。
being celebrated here.
こんなみっともないお祭りも56
Give
年
this
も
sorry
すると
excuse.
村中が総出でやってきて
Give this sorry excuse of a festival 5 or 6 more years. Then everybody in the village will start coming.
ちゃんと儀式も真面目にやる
The ceremony will also be done properly, and it'll be a respectful festival again. She said that what she said was not so much wishful thinking as it was telling of a future that had already been determined. Yeah, because in the past 3 events, in the timelines, all the Watanagashis have been so lively and cheery and all weird fun games and junk and stuff. But here it's just a bunch of old people drinking. Not really much fun, for what it sounds like. Alright, check something. Okay, that's so good. And the music's so lovely. You can just listen to it for hours. I should do that. Sometimes I just take the OTS and just use it as the background noise for a bunch of junk. It's so calm. Till it isn't. Alright, back to the story. She wasn't even predicting it. It was almost like she was simply reporting the results. That's how it sounded. Even though it was baseless speculation. The way she said it wouldn't let me interject. It was the same way she talked when she changed. While I struggled to find the words to reply to her, she wandered over to the other side of the grounds, not minding me at all. Not in a state where I could afford to be left behind. I hurriedly followed after her. Passing through a copse of pine trees, a strong and cool breeze ruffled my hair. From that one evening, was the splendid observation platform the girl had shown me. It had grown completely dark. The modest lights littered across the nightscape were providing a different type of scenery.
こうして眺めると、
Looking at this
こ
village,
の村ものどかそうに見えますのです。
looking at it like this village seems tranquil. She said that with an indifferent look on her face.
君は先日
Just the other day,
この村は
you said this
絶
village
対にダムに
definitely
沈む
would
ことは
be
ないと
submerged by the dam.
そ
Didn't
う
you?
断言したね。
She didn't reply, seemingly repressing the feeling of the wind blowing through her hair.
あれは
Didn't
あ
that
の時点
mean
でも
at that
う
point
大
in
臣が
time,
要求に応じていたと
Minister
いう意
had
味だ
already
ったんだね。
complied with the demands? She spun around, her gaze meeting mine. But she said nothing. She spoke nothing that would neither confirm nor deny what I had just said.
多分
This case
今回の事件
will
は
probably remain
闇
shrouded
から闇へ
in
葬られる。
darkness.
本庁上層部は
Headquarters probably
多分
doesn't want
大臣の
trouble
スキャン
from a
ダルが公に
scandal
なって
with the
トラブ
minister
ルになるこ
breaking
とを望ま
out.
ないと思う。
さもないと、
There's no mistake.
孫を殺すぞと脅
They
したに
threatened
違
to
いないの
kill
です。
the grandchild.
で
The
大臣と
negotiations
の
with the
交渉が
minister
成功
were
し
successful.
孫は
And
解
the
放され
grandson
た。
was released.
孫を助
The
けた
one
の
who
は
said the grandson
赤坂ですよ。
was you.
どうだろ
I wondered about that.
う。発端となったあの
Discovered
財
that
布の発
wallet
見。
was that started this chain of events.
あれ自体がすでに
That alone was
出
almost
来すぎ
too
だったように思
convenient,
う。
I think. Ever since that moment that wallet was discovered, I felt something was odd. Oh, she said it as well. That the Sanzaki family had given the order to release the hostage. Meaning that our little manhunt was a farce to begin with. Come to think of it, I was punched, kicked, and had a gun pointed at me. I felt that they put up quite a fight, but that might have been all part of a good performance. Once the negotiations were successful, they could just say, "Here you go," and return the minister's grandson right there, right to his doorstep. They knew that public safety had realized that this was a kidnapping case, and were moving in on it. That's why, due to actions of public safety, the grandson was able to be rescued safely. So the minister didn't give into any unreasonable demands. That type of performance was necessary.
僕には難しいことはよ
I
くわか
don't
りませ
know
ん。
about these difficult things.
同感だな。
Likewise,
私にだって
even for me,
難しいことはよくわか
I
らない。
can't make much sense of it.
だが
But
一
There's
つ
one
確
thing
実なことがある。
I can be certain of.
あ
Huh?
君が言った通りっ
It's just
て
like
こと
you
さ。
said.
この村は
This village won't
Damu-ko ni
be
nanka shizumanaai.
submerged.
ダム計画なん
The
て
dam project will be
そ
over
のうち
soon.
なくなってしまうってことさ。
That wasn't something an officer of the law should be saying. But I naturally let those words slip from my mouth. This village may have stirred up all sorts of trouble, but that was because they were protecting their homes. If someone just decided by themselves that I had to leave the house I was used to I was used to living in, I would resent them as well. On top of that, it wasn't a place like mine where I just happened to be renting it, but a place where their families had lived for generations. It might be ignorant to call their desperate residents an overreaction. I might not really be qualified to criticize politics or bureaucracy, but deliberately building a dam on land that was loved by its residents was something I could get wasn't something I could get behind.
でもよかったじゃないか。
Aren't you glad?
ど
Oh,
うしてですか？
oh no. Why would I be?
少なくともこれで
At the very least,
この村に平和が戻るよ。
we'll return to this village. Even though the minister promised to use his considerable influence to cancel the project, it would probably take more than a few months before it would be completely scrapped. At the very least, it would probably take 1 or 2 years for the village to officially hear that their village wasn't going to be submerged at the bottom of the dam was still ways away. But it was no mistake that the promise of peace returning to the village was there. It turned out, from beginning to end, it had already all been decided. Just as the girl had said, it was decided. There wasn't really a need for me to come here in the first place. There was absolutely no need for me to have come here and aggravate the unpleasant situation. If I had never come here, then the grandson's release might have been done in a more amicable manner.
平和が
Peace
この村に
in this village. Nah, it seems not something that happens a lot. When I nodded, she laughed to admonish me. Her face remained indifferent, expressionless, and her eyes narrowed slightly as she snickered.
これから毎年血生臭いことが起きるのに
Oh no! It's her! It's the witch! even though every year from now on something bloody will occur.
リカちゃん
Rika-chan, what are you
何の話だい？
talking about? As the wind blew her hair about the girl, if taking pleasure in that I was the only one who didn't know. Continued to snicker as she looked at my face for a while.
私ね
Oh! The music box? What's this? Days of Children. Okay. You see,
あと何年かすると
in a few years.
殺されるの
Huh? Wait, what happened? Did I skip? Oh, how did I skip that? In a few years, I'll be killed. Huh? Backlit by the moon, it was hard to tell if her expression that had been cast in shadow was smiling, amused, or resigned.
リカちゃんが
You will.
どうして？
Why?
とても不愉快な
It's
こ
a
と
very
だけど
unpleasant thing, though.
それも多分
It's also probably
決
been
まってることなの
It's also probably been decided already.
決まっているって
Decided
誰が
already?
そんなことを決めるんだい？
Who decides that sort of thing?
それを私も知りたいの
I like to know that as well. Turning back to face me, she showed me a resolute expression for the first time. And after staring into my eyes for a moment, she turned back to gaze at the scenery before she spoke her next words.
ここは人の命を
There are
何
lots
と
of
も思わ
people
ない連中で
who
いっ
have
ぱ
no
いです。
regard for human life.
これを伝えても
Even if I tell you this,
何も変わらない
it
かも
might
し
not
れないけ
change
ど、
anything, though.
でも
But
死
if
と
you
い
want to
う
erase
月を
the
映す水面
specter
を
of
か
death,
き消すためなら、
sometimes like with
小石を
the
投じる
reflection
こ
of the
とも
moon on the
ある
water,
かもしれない。
all you have to do is throw a stone. I had no idea what she was trying to say. I just had to listen. I just had to listen to every word with my body and soul. Or at least, that's what I thought.
来年の今日、
This day, next year,
そう、
yes,
昭和54年の6月の
June
今日、
1979. On this day,
ダム現場の
the
監督
foreman
が
of the dam
殺されま
construction
す。
project will be killed. What? For a moment, I couldn't comprehend what she was talking about. By the foreman, did she mean the gruff old man I played mahjong with? But
殺されるっ
killed.
て
What makes you
ど
think?
うして
She didn't answer. She had the same expression in her face that she did when she declared that the damn project would go away. That wasn't the face of somebody making a forecast or a prediction. It was something that was already decided. No, it was as if she was already reporting the results. That sort of expression.
恐ろしい殺され方をした後、
After being killed in a gruesome
体中を
manner,
バラバラに引
the
き裂かれ
body
て
will
捨
be
てられて
torn
しまい
apart
ます。
and disposed of.
But-
Murdered?
バラバラ殺人
Dismembered?
その
The
翌
next
年の
year,
昭和
in June
55年の6月の今
1980,
日、
on this day,
聡子の両親が
Satoko's parents
突き
will be
落とされ
pushed
て
to
死
their
にま
deaths.
す。
Satoko? It was the first time I heard that name, but it didn't have the courage to interrupt the girl's story.
あるいは
It might
事故と
be
言うべきか
an
もしれ
accident,
ない。不幸な
an
事故。
unfortunate accident. The girl smiled faintly, but she wasn't exactly encouraging me to smile along with the lifeless look in her eyes.
そして
But then,
さらにその
the year
翌
after
年
that,
の昭和56
this
年の
day,
6月の
in
今日、
June of 1981,
私の両親が
my
殺
parents
されま
will
す。
be killed.
そしてさらに翌
And
年
then,
の
the year
昭
after
和
that,
57年の6
this
月の
day,
今日、
June 1982,
聡子の意地
Satoko's
悪おば
abusive
が
aunt
頭
will
を
have
割
her
られ
head
て死
split
にます。
open and die.
そしてさらに
And then
翌
the year
年
after
の
that,
昭和
this day,
58年の
June
6月の今日、
1983,
あるいは
or
その
possibly
数日
a
後
few
か、
days afterwards,
私が殺されます。
I will be killed.
すべての死が
All the
予定
deaths
調
are
和なら、
preordained.
最後の死も
Then the last
ま
one
た予定
will
のうち
also
なので
be
しょうか。
according to plan.
でも、な
But
らばこれは一体
whose
誰の予
plan
定なの？
would it be? Ugh, I love it. This village is full of murderers and people who have no regard for human life. It would be fine to believe that of all the deaths up to 1982 would be the work of somebody in the village. It would be fine to believe that all the deaths that would occur were at the destruction of those who control the village. But that didn't explain what would happen in 1983. There's no way that the last death would fit with anybody's plans. Sorry, my neck. They had no regards for human life. They would be used they would use every means at their disposal to meet their goals. But their goals were at odds with the last death. That's why the last death was unrelated to them. But that last death would definitely, most likely, probably, without question, happen. Probably, definitely, I dare say. The last death would be a merciful one. A handkerchief or something being placed over their mouth, making them lose consciousness, never to wake up again. Exactly. Whose plan was that?
私は幸せに生きたい。
I want to live happily.
望みはそれだけ。
That's my only wish.
大好きな友人たちに囲まれて
Surrounded by my precious friends,
楽しく日々を過ごしたい。
spending our days enjoyably.
それだけなの。
Only that.
それ以上の何も望んでいないの。
I don't wish for any more than that.
リカちゃん。
Rika-chan,
死にたくない。
I don't want to die. The girl, stoic as ever, let those words slip in the end. Eventually, we were discovered by some drunks. The girl, as well as I, were dragged back to the festivities. Everybody was completely drunk, so even when they saw my head completely wrapped in bandages, they wouldn't let me leave. Well, certainly if I was in a good enough condition to slip out of the hospital, it must not be that serious. The girl was mingling with everybody, being pampered like a kitten. Her expression was adorable, something like one from before. Predicting her own death and whispering that she didn't want to die. Having said that, having a silly and lively conversation like this, it was hard to believe that these people were the core of extremists residents group. Even if it was a shell of his former life, it was a festival where people in the village gathered. So the 20-some odd folk here should have included some of the village executives and other important members. Among those, there was no doubt that there were members that were at the Sanzaki family council in attendance. Meaning, even if we never met face to face before, there were people here who knew my identity. In a small village like this, they knew the faces of all the villagers that lived here. That's why, without even saying anything, it soon became obvious that I was an outsider. They were actually seemed interested by that, asking me all sorts of questions about Tokyo, drinking while musing on the faint relationship the city had with the villagers, and emphasizing with the rather meager environment. The confidential talks with the minister were finished. His grandson was in police custody. Everything was over. I might not have to be put in another perilous situation. To me, they were only my adversaries because of my job. Outside of that, there was no reason I couldn't be friendly with them. The next time I visit this village, will it return to being a tranquil and beautiful place? If that happened, I might not be able to take a relaxed walk around the village with her again. My cup was once again filled to the brim with beer. What is it? Ah! What the heck? Colored orange time. I need to give that. The song is too amazing.
B&H customer.
There we go. The song is too amazing. This is some good reading music. By the time I was able to get away, it was in the middle of the night. The girl at some point disappeared. It seemed that her parents had told her to go home and sleep when she let out a large yawn. The old folks, who had absolutely no remorse for making an injured person hang out with them, told me as much as they laughed. I was just there drinking, so I had thought to help a bit with cleanup. However, my help was refused on the grounds that I was a guest. On top of that, they had a car prepared to take me back to the hospital. Losing the battle against my sleeplessness inside the car, I was sound asleep until we reached the parking lot of the hospital. The front door of the hospital is naturally locked at this hour. I wandered about bewilderedly, searching for a back entrance, until somebody on the night duty found out and let me inside.
こんな時間までどちらへ
Where were you this late at night?
入江先生も心
Dr.
配してました
Irie was
よ
worried, you know.
ご迷惑をおかけしました。
Sorry for the trouble.
神社でお祭りの人たち
I
に
was
引き
told
止
up
めら
by
れま
the
して。
people having a festival at the shrine.
ああそういえば今日は
Oh,
神社で町会
they
の
did
人
say
たちが
something
集まって飲むとか言っ
about
てたな
everybody in the town council getting together for a drink.
それはご愁傷様でした
My condolences.
傷は大丈夫ですか
Are your wounds alright?
ちょっとズキズキします
They
ね。
are throbbing a bit.
多分アルコールのせいだと思います。
they're throbbing a bit. It's probably because of the alcohol, I think.
そうだ
Oh, that's right.
お連れの刑事さんが
The
連
detective
絡が
that
欲しいと言っ
was
てま
with
したよ
you wanted to get in touch.
いけない。
Oops.
大石さんを
I
待たせ
kept
てたんだっ
Oshi-san
た。
waiting. I glanced at the clock. No matter how you look at it, it was way too late to call him. Now, I'll apologize to him tomorrow over the phone. I returned to the hospital room and slipped into the bed that was still unmade from the time I went outside. Oh, that's no good. I had to turn off the lights, but my weariness had cut the core powering my body, lulling me into a deep sleep. Alright, time to go sleep. Good night, Yuki. I'll see you and our child tomorrow. Ah, no, three tips. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Mother's Diary, Mother's Diary 2, Mother's Diary 3. Mother really likes her diary, does she? Mother's Diary 1, Mother's Diary 2, Mother's Diary 3. Oh, Mother, why won't you speak to me? So interested in your little book, but the people around you are booked? No. That doesn't good, sound good. And there was nothing I didn't like about my child. I first realized it when there was something I didn't like about my child. I first realized it when I started writing these things down. They never warn you about any books. They never warn you about any books about raising children. But they aren't just a plaything. If they aren't able to feel love, even when they're not doing exactly as their parents want them to do, then those parents are failures. This wasn't something like that, though. How can I say it? It's probably harder to express with mere words. I just want my child to be average. As long as they weren't falling behind, there wasn't any need for them to excel at something. As long as they acted appropriately for their age, I would be fine with that. Fine with it. But my child had been different ever since kindergarten. While the children in her class were running around in excitement about field trips the next day, she only wore a bored look on her face, aloof and distant. When the other kids broke their equipment for athletics, when other kids broke the equipment for athletics festival, they were apologizing featheredly. She only wore a bored expression on her face, aloof and distant. When the teacher was reading a fun picture book, only she wasn't smiling. Even if they all got to eat a delicious bento, she wasn't happy. If it was only this, it would still be in the realm of understanding. However, what I don't understand about my child is that if the aforementioned situations happen again, they now act in a manner befitting their age. I don't understand the principle behind that as a parent. Why were they indifferent about that field trip, but happy about this one? Why were they indifferent about that picture book, but happy about this one? Why were they different about that bento, but happy about this one? The former and the latter in each situation seemed exactly the same to me. There was even times when I thought the former one was better. I don't understand that child's feelings. During parent-teacher meetings, the teacher always says the same thing. And I would always respond that I don't understand my own child. And we would mope together. My husband, always the optimistic, once said that a young child's feelings are different than an adult's. So if there were some things we didn't understand, we shouldn't worry about it. I limit his lack of urgency. One day, when I was in a good mood, I took the effort to prepare a menu that my child would enjoy. But she only smiled with a vague expression of disinterest. That attitude frankly made me angry, so I hit her on the head. On a day when the weather was nice, the laundry I had just hung up to dry was blown by a large gust of wind, causing the entire line to fall down. But she, watching me trying to pick up the laundry in a panic, stood there laughing. That attitude frankly made me angry, so I hit her on the head. I think the same sort of thing happened countless times. Before I knew it, my child was only able to look at me with an indifferent expression on her face. I regret the fact that I had been a bad mother. Thinking I should regain her trust, I thought to get it back little by little, with some light interactions. Seeing her do some sort of craft work on the Vendra, I called out to her.
ここ数日気持ちのいい晴れの日が続いて気分がいいわね。
That child, with that indifferent look in her face, I hated so much, looked up at me for a moment, without a word, returned to immersing herself in her craft work. Up until now, I would have hit her on the head for that. I helped myself back.
何を作ってるの？
What
お
are you
人
making?
形さん？
Is it a doll?
てるてる坊主。
A weather charm. That child was using inserts from the newspaper to deftly make some sort of weather charm. The forecast hadn't called for rain, but that child, in her own way, was praying that these sunny days would continue. Being able to understand my own child for the first time in a while, I couldn't hide my own happiness. Bringing out a ball of yarn, I began to hang my child's cute weather charm for the eaves of the house.
ダメよリカ。
It's no good, Rika.
頭が重すぎるか
The
ら。
heads are too
ほ
heavy.
ら
See?
逆さてるてる坊主になっ
They
ちゃったわ。
become reverse weather charms now.
これじゃ晴れじ
They're
ゃなく
like
て
this.
雨にな
They'll
っちゃうわ
call
よ。
the rain instead of the sun. When I started to take them down, my child tugged at the hem of my shirt as if to stop me.
逆さになるように作ったのだから。
That's
それ
because
で
I
いい
made
の。
them to be upside down. They're fine.
でもリカ、
But
てる
Rika,
てる坊主が逆さじゃ
if they're upside
晴れ
down,
のおまじないに
there
な
won't
ら
be
な
a
いわ
charm
よ。
that calls for a sunny day. You know?
雨が降るようにおまじないをしているから。
I was making a
それで
charm
いい
for
の。
it to rain. So they're fine. I desperately suppressed the emotions welling up inside me. I was trying desperately to understand my child.
あ、
Oh,
そっか。
I see.
お庭の朝顔
The
が
morning glories
晴
in
れ
the
続き
garden
で
were
元気
starting
が
to
な
get
くなっちゃったか
a
ら
little wilted from all the
雨が
sun.
欲しいのね。
So he wanted some rain, right? The child turned to me with the expression that I hated the most.
晴れにね。
I got
飽き
bored
たの。
of the clear weather. I don't understand. I don't understand. I just can't understand that child. Uh-oh. Number 2. Ooh, what's this? This looks neat. I don't think I've seen this CG before. During the family council, she buried herself under Oreo-san's futon again. Oreo-san dotes on her unwaveringly. No matter whatever insolence my child commits, she doesn't mind. It's almost as if my child is a kitten or something. Oreo dotes on her exactly like you would a kitten. I don't know, it's almost like she's a cat. As her mother, I chided her for doing that. Until Oreo-san had said 3 times that it was fine. I chided her as a formality. Of course, she never lends an ear for any of my chidings. Knowing that Oreo-san's standing was far above mine, she behaves like that. I don't like the cunning that's I don't like the cunning that's unbefitting of her age either. In any case, not only Oreo-san, but the rest of the old folks in the village spoil her too much. One day, I was surprised. By chance, on the way back from some shopping, I saw her by herself just outside a candy shop. My own child suddenly grabbed a snack, opened the package right there, and then started eating it. She didn't make any attempts to pay for it, and she didn't even think of looking around. She didn't even feel that she was shoplifting. More like she were basically eating snack that was offered to her. When I began to admonish my child, the elderly shop owner appeared and covered for her. The owner gave the ridiculous excuse that he had said it was okay for the child to eat any of the snacks out of the entrance, so it's fine. When I tried to pay for the snacks that my child had eaten, the owner refused my money. During that exchange, the more old folks had suddenly gathered around, and it began to feel like I was in the wrong. The elderly people all put their hands together reverently in front of my child and repeatedly voiced their respects. I was born into the Furude family. So it wasn't like I didn't know why she was being treated specially. When I was still young, it was something I heard often from my grandmother. By the chance by the chance the child that I gave birth to was a girl, that child would be the living incarnation of Oya Shiro-sama. All the older folk believed she was the living incarnation of Oya Shiro-sama and spoiled her rotten. And not only did they spoil her, but they even told her she was the living incarnation of Oya Shiro-sama. That she had a divine power and threw all sorts of strange folk tales her way. So she had begun to believe herself that she was a special existence. I ran around and told everybody that it wasn't good for her upbringing, so to stop telling her all these strange things. But there was no uprooting the elderly people's deep-seated superstitions. I told my child not to listen to them, but it ended up being that she stopped listening to me. Between all the old folks in the village who would dote on her and myself who scolded her, there was no wonder who she would listen to. There was no mistaking that the reason she had become strange was because of the elderly villagers. There was no doubt that they had shoved her full of strange folk tales and superstitions since she was young. If it wasn't for that, there was no doubt my child would have been cute and normal. Are you sure about that? Part 3. One summer, parent-teacher day. There was a cooking class, and my child was making curry rice with a practiced hand. While the other children her age were awkwardly using their kitchen knives, that child was wielding hers deftly. The teacher approached me with a smile on her face, saying it must be a result of learning it at home. I managed to play it off with a vague smile and a nod in response. That is because I never once taught my child how to make curry rice. Even then, she was peeling vegetables with a practiced hand, adding them into the pot in the order which took longer to cook. For a normal parent, they might unintentionally clap their hands together, happy at their child's actions. But in my case, it was different. There was no mistaking that somebody had taught her how to make that curry rice when I wasn't taking care of her. Thinking that, I quietly fell into an unpleasant mood. When I asked, it seemed she could also sew and do the laundry. I had never taught her how to do those things, and again, never saw her do it around the house. Be it cooking or sewing or the laundry. Again, that was probably because the elderly villagers taught her all sorts of rubbish when I wasn't looking. And not only that, they probably taught her all sorts of strange superstitions, trying to prop her up as the living incarnation of Oya Shiro-sama. I said as much to my husband, suggesting that we should keep our child away from the elderly folk. But my husband, who was in the position of being the head priest of the Furude Shrine, had little power against the elderly who supported it. He took the rather uncommitted stance of saying that, as long as she was being doted upon, wasn't it fine? I argued against that. That she was our child, and she would be and she should be a completely normal girl. That the elderly were expecting that she was a living incarnation of Oya Shiro-sama was simply odd. The elderly villagers believed that the child had divine powers. We should discuss the weather for the following day, but there were many times when I left the house without an umbrella and came back soaking wet. Rather than having clairvoyance, that was just second-hand knowledge from her watching the news all the time. The things that she knew that she shouldn't have known were just a result of the people who were trying to indoctrinate her, and the people who were gossiping, getting together in the village. However, there certainly were days when everybody thought it was going to be sunny all day, and the child would certainly not go out with without an umbrella. It would occasionally rain, and in the end, we would be saved. There might have also been times where Rika knew a major accidents in foreign countries faster than the news did. I thought that she must have heard it break over the radio or something. Knowing things she shouldn't have. Something like that. Knowing things that she shouldn't have. Something like that. Was in front of me right now, wasn't it? The child was making curry rice when there shouldn't have been anybody who taught her how to. No, that couldn't possibly be the case. Somebody had taught her, indoctrinated her. When I wasn't taking care of her, somebody had indoctrinated Rika with something.
Furude-san's
curry is absolutely splendid. I'll give it a gold star.
フルデさんはお料理を誰に習いましたか？やっぱりお家で？
Where did you learn to cook, Furude-san? At home?
はい、
Yes,
お家なのですよ。
at home. The other parents in attendance were impressed. Lies. All lies. I didn't teach her anything. Who was it? Who was it? Who was the person who had who had completely indoctrinated my child? She was my normal, average daughter, not the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. She's not a god. I think that might be our last steps. We'll see. Oh,
それは誰
it
も
was
が
an
忘
accident
れ
that
そうな
happened
ほ
in
ど
such a
地
small
方の
village that anybody
小
could
さな
predict.
村の出来事。悲劇は幕を閉じ、その傷跡も消え去ろう
One
と
day
し
after
ていた
tragedy had come to
ある日、
close, just as the scars had begun to heal,
青年は
a young man thinks nostalgically of the
思いを
little
馳
girl
せる。
he once met.
あの日聞け
The
なかった
words he
言
couldn't
葉、
ask that day,
あの日
the
果たせなか
promise
っ
he
た
couldn't
約
fulfill
束、
that day,
その
those
後
regrets
悔と
and
慟
lamentations
哭が
where the open fate
閉
was
じられ
sealed
たままだった
and
運命を
become a
開く
single hope.
一つの光となった。暇つぶし、
Himatsubushi.
運命
Fate
は
isn't only about
幸
happiness,
せだけじゃない。
but there is no one that
で
would
も
wish for
不幸を
unhappiness.
望む人なんて誰もいない。
Midsummer, 1985. Oh boy. Here it comes, chat. Hear it. Here it comes.
パパ、パパってば。
Papa. Are you there, Papa? Huh? Oh.
大丈夫？
Are you alright?
怖い夢でも見
Were
た
you
の？
having a scary dream? Miyuki was sitting next to me. I quickly patted her head after hearing her say that. I must have had a bad dream while sleeping in the cabin. I was sweating profusely.
いや、
No,
なんでもない。
it's nothing like that.
ちょっと暑かっ
I
たかな。
guess it's a little hot in here. I tried to wipe away the sweat while answering and looked around for a handkerchief or a towel. And then a cold drop ran down my forehead. Miyuki turned to me and smiled, then wiped my face with the towel she received at takeoff.
ありがとう、ユキ。
Thanks, Miyuki. Of course. Thanks to her, I was finally able to shake off my slumber, so I got up from the aisle seat and looked out the window. I wrapped my arms around Miyuki in the window seat and listened to the noise as the land and sea blew past us before our eyes. Oh, it's so cute! Wow, it's Hokkaido! 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 It's so big! And then the plane gently turned before entering the airport runway. Arrived in the lobby, I glanced around looking for Ooshi. And was met with a familiar gruff voice calling out to me.
Akasaka-san!
Akasaka-san! How many years has it been? It's been a while, hasn't it?
大石さん、
Ooshi-san.
本当にお久
It
しぶり
really
です
has。been a long time. Ooshi clapped his hands down on my shoulder, celebrating our reunion.
赤坂さんもだい
You're
ぶいい顔
looking
つきに
pretty
なりました
good.
ね。最前線の捜査
You
官
look
ら
like
し
a
いいい
bona
顔つき
fide
ですよ。
frontline investigator now.
大石さんはだいぶスマートになり
You're
ました
looking
ね。
quite dapper yourself. You're wearing the same thing you always wear.
背筋も良くなった
Your
ような。
posture seems a lot better.
これも
Is the
Chakou
ballroom
dance
dancing paying off?
赤坂さんも
You
ね
should give it a try while you're
若
so
いうちから
young.
ダンスはやっておいた方がいいですよ。そしたらきっとモテ
You'll
ま
be a
す。
hit with the ladies.
モテモ
A
テ。
real pet magnet.
うん
Oh, she had retired and moved to Sapporo, and of all things, not starting taking ballroom dancing lessons. He had happily gotten really into it and had decided to spend the rest of his new life devoted to that hobby. He was aiming to get his instructor's qualifications before he hit 80 and live out his old age dandyfully.
おや
Oh.
そ
Who
ちらが
might
ひょっ
this
と
be?
して
Oh! She's so cute! Oh my god! Suddenly, she turned his attention to Miyuki, who was standing idly next to me. He bent down on his knee to look her in the face. Just slides away like, no. No. However, my daughter was frightened and hid behind my back.
こら、みゆき。
Come on, Miyuki.
ちゃんとご挨拶しなさい。
Please introduce yourself properly.
えっと
She was staring at Ooshi with a dubious expression while tugging at the hem of my shirt. She's usually not this shy. I wonder what's wrong.
すみません。
Sorry about that.
いつも
She's
はこう
usually
じゃないん
not
です
like
が。
this.
いえいえいいんですよ。
No, no, it's no problem.
おじさん
This
顔
old
が
man
怖いからな。
Just has a scary face.
お名
If
前
you
を
don't
聞い
mind,
てもいいですか
Can you tell me your name?
えっと 赤坂みゆき
Alright, Miyuki Akasa.
7歳です
I'm 7 years old.
こ
Ne-
こんにちはで
nice
す
to meet you.
うんいいお返事です。
Great. Great. That was a good introduction.
さすが
I
は
expect no less
赤坂さ
from
んの娘さん
Akasaka-san's
ですよ
daughter.
ね。
Oh, she gently stroked Miyuki's head and smiled as though she were his own grandchild. After finally seeing that, Miyuki smiled in relief. Shortly afterwards, Miyuki told me that she was just doing what I told her to do. Be careful around strangers. Aw, that's a good girl. Oh, she overheard that and let out a hearty shaking his whole body while laughing and walking. I let myself into Oshi's car, and we headed out towards the hot spring inn. I had originally intended to crash at Oshi's place, but Oshi was quite obstinate that his home wasn't suitable for that, so it came to this. At the end, we relaxed while soaking in the hot springs, then ate a delicious feast until we were full. Miyuki had a little of the Mongolian barbecue, and was delighted with it. After our bellies were swollen, Miyuki grew sleepy and went off to bed. Then Oji and I reminisced about the time we played mahjong together in Hinamizawa. It seemed that to celebrate our reunion, Oji had looked for people who could play, but unable to find any suitable candidates, we had to give up on putting together a table. After we drank together, we excitedly recounted our exploits during the final manhunt.
結局あの
Did
犯人の
they
2人は捕まったんですか？
end up catching those two guys?
いいえ
Oh! Oshi! That looks good on you. No.
結局山狩りでも見つけられませんで
The
した。
search team never found them.
多分
They
村
were
にかくまわ
probably
れて
hidden
か
by the
ら
villagers.
海外か
They
遠
sent
方でほと
overseas
ぼりを
or
冷ましてる
somewhere
んじゃない
else
かと
far
思いま
away
すね。
to lay low for a bit.
大石さんは確か
Oshi-san,
犯人の銃の一丁を奪いまし
if
た
I
よね。
remember correctly, you managed to grab one of their guns, didn't you?
あれからは
Did you learn anything from that?
海外の軍
It
用
was
拳
a
銃でし
foreign
た。
military pistol.
関西系の暴
It's
力団
borrowed
組
from
織
the
が
ones
大
the
量に
gangs
密輸
in
したうちの
Kansai
一丁でしょうな。
managed to smuggle in a ton of.
戦場痕を調べましたが、
We
他
tried
の
to
事
get a
件との
match
つながり
for
は何も出
other
ませんでした。
firearms, but it didn't show up in any other cases.
そっちでは
How about on your end?
私はあの後
After
しばら
that,
く現場を離れましたので
I was moved
よ
from
く
the
は知
front
りません。
lines, so I don't know much.
結局
In the end,
全部
it
闇の
seems
中
like
ってことで
everything was
決
settled
着した
under
ようです
the
かね。
veil of secrecy. Oh, she smiled wryly as he sipped his chilled drink.
あの後は
What
大
happened to
変
that?
でしたね。
Sure was tough, huh?
今年で7
It's
年ですか。
been 7 years now.
ええ、
Yeah.
先日
We
7回
held
忌
the
の法
memorial
要がありました。
service a few days ago.
岐阜とも最近
I've
は疎
become
遠でし
estranged
て
with the father-in-law.
準備でいろいろ苦労しました。
So it was rough getting everything ready.
それ
That
は
must
それ
have
は
been a lot of
お
work.
疲れ様でした。
It was then the hostess brought in the extra drinks that we had ordered before. While the bottles of beer clinked as she brought them in, we halted our conversation. What Oshi meant when he said it must have been tough. Thinking about that. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay. Everything's back to normal. Alright, let's finish this. What? Let's go and check the time marker real quick. Time is it? 50. Can I write that down somewhere real quick? Sorry. Want to mark those real quick. 50. Thinking about that was still hard, but time had healed the wound. Okay, audio's working. It was the day after. Oh, wrong button. When I phoned Ooshi to apologize. When I did, Ooshi almost immediately handed the phone to one of my colleagues, who happened to be there. Not only was I injured in the brawl with the suspect, but I disappeared to drink late into the night without leaving any sort of contact information. So I thought he'd definitely be mad. However, all he said was that it was something he couldn't talk about over the phone, and I should come to the station as soon as possible. At the time, I could only think that he must have been really pissed off. But when I arrived at the station, he said this.
君の奥さんが事故に遭ったらしい。
It seems your wife was involved in an accident. Having no idea what happened, I borrowed the phone to contact the hospital Yuki was staying at. After being given the runaround several times, I was finally able to talk to someone in charge. After missing words for quite some time, they told me.
赤坂幸恵様が事故でお亡くなりになりました。
Yuki Akasaka died in an accident. The world became a blur. So I sat there dumbfounded. Yuki's death was unbelievably abrupt, unbelievably sudden. I could have understood if there was some kind of problem during the birth. But Yuki's death wasn't anything like that. On the stairs, on the way to the roof, she just happened to slip and fall. She just happened to fall in an unfortunate place at an unfortunate angle. That was it. Wanting to blame Yuki's death on somebody, I began to think of a revenge act by the Guardians. That they killed my wife and made it look like an accident. What I learned when I flew back to Tokyo, however, was much more cruel than that. Yuki had a habit of going up to the roof to cool off in the evening. There was an elevator on the 7th floor, but from there you had to take the stairs to get to the roof. Even late in her pregnancy, even when the evening came, she would always head up there. Her father had always said for her to not push herself, but Yuki insisted that until the time she had no choice but to stay in bed, she should be allowed to do as she wished. However, I never once seen Yuki go up to the roof. I only heard from her father and the nurses. That was because whenever I visited her, she would spend that time with me instead. I heard the reason why Yuki went up to the roof from a nurse she had become friendly with. She had said that her husband was always on a business a lot of the time. and that whenever he called, she was able to cheer him up and give him courage. But when he didn't call, she couldn't do that. Her husband might put on a show of bravado, but in reality, he grew loathsome pathetically fast. She was probably just the same. Whenever he left for business, not clear when he'd be back, she felt very lonely. However, she cheered him up. She was acting cheery. She's actually cheering herself up as well. That's why, whenever he went far away from an important job, on the evenings, he didn't call. At the very least, she felt that standing underneath the same sky, her feelings would reach him. At that moment, I remember those words that girl had told me. That it was best that I go back to Tokyo right now. Otherwise, there will be something I regret horribly. Yes, that's it. Because I was away on business that day, Yuki headed up to the roof. Had I known that this would have been the result, I had done as the girl had said and dropped everything to head back to Tokyo. I might have been with Yuki on the day she died. If I was with her, she wouldn't have gone up to the roof. The day my wife died was on the evening of the third day of my trip. Yes. It was right before the time I had the sudden urge to hear Yuki's voice, and ran around the village trying to find a phone. The girl had gone around and cut all the phone cords. If she hadn't, and I had made that call, I would have undoubtedly learned of Yuki's death. At the time, and collapsed in tears. Of course, even though the phone cords were cut, it had only put me off learning of Yuki's death by one evening. In the end, I had learned of it the next morning. However, when I managed to put my emotions in order, I realized it was that girl's small token of consideration.
そんな話は
The
初めて聞
first
きま
I
した。
heard about that. Yeah,
私も初めて話しま
it's
す。
the first time I talked about it.
偶然
Could
で
have
は
been a coincidence.
超能力じゃあ
She
る
doesn't
ま
have
い
any
し。
special powers or anything.
大石さんは教えてくれましたよ
Aren't you
ね。
the one who told me? Oh, Shisan?
あの子は
She might be
親代様
the
という神様
reincarnation
の
of
生
the
まれ変わ
god
りではない
called
かと言われてるって。
Oeshiro-sama.
ねえ、
Well,
まあ
yeah.
村の年寄り
The
ども
old
は
folks in the
フル
village
で理科
believe
に
that
神通
Rika
力があると
Furude
信じ
had
てるようで
divine
したがね。
powers.
神通力。
Divine powers. Oh, she had originally said it as a kind of joke. But realizing that I was serious, he slumped his shoulders.
まあ
I don't know if
嘘
it's
か
true
本当
or
か知りません
not.
がね。未来の
I
こと
thought
を
she
予
did
言し
things
てみ
like
せたり、
prophesize the
知らない
future,
はずのことを
or talk
話し
about
てみせ
things
た
you
り。
have no way of knowing,
千里眼だ
that she
の、
was
天の
clairvoyant,
啓示だの。
and that it was divine revelation.
まあ、
Well,
いろいろです。
all sorts of things.
もちろん、
Of course,
具体的な
we
実
couldn't
例
give
は
specific
何一つありゃ
examples.
しないんですがね。
幸恵の事
She
故を
prophesied
予
Yuki's
言してみせ
accident.
ました。
Oh, she tried to laugh it off, but out of respect for my deceased wife, he kept it restrained.
現職の警
Does
視庁
that
の
mean
敏
an
腕捜査
active
官
and
が
capable investigator from
神
the
通
Sharpen
力
Police
やら
believes
たたりやらを
in
信
divine
じるわけ
powers
で。
and curses? Having to say that so bluntly, I couldn't respond. Of course, I had no intention of believing such odd things. But he could only say that because he didn't know what I did. Since I met that other girl, the one who was both and wasn't Rika Furude, I could deny the existence of an otherworldly entity.
予知でなく予告の可能性も
Of course, I can't
もちろん
deny
否定
that
で
it
きま
might
せん。
not have been presence, but rather a warning. Not pre-science, but a warning. If what that girl has said was a warning about Yuki's accident, then things might become easier to understand. Basically, the line of thinking was it was a threat, because it didn't go back to Tokyo. My wife was killed in a way that made it look like an accident.
奥さんの事故の検証に
Not satisfied with the investigation to your wife's accident?
もちろん
Of course,
謀殺の可
I
能性も
suspected
疑い
foul
ました。
play.
現場
I
検証
have
の
poured
書
over the
類は
results
全て
and
目を
even
通しま
carried
した
out
し、
my own personal
私が
investigation.
独自に調査もしました。
There weren't any witnesses to Yuki's fall. There was the possibility that somebody had hidden, waiting to push Yuki down the stairs. However, the cleaning ladies frequented the roof to hang laundry, and the security camera on each floor hadn't recorded anything out of the ordinary. There wasn't anything set up on the stairs, and I wasn't able to find anything suspicious.
結局、
In the end,
独自の検証の結果で
even
も
after my personal
ユ
investigation,
キエが単独で事故を起こ
I
した
can't
とし
think
か
that
考えられませ
anything
んでし
else
た。
happened other than a simple accident.
確かに
Well, of course.
大臣の孫を誘
They
拐し
were
て
the guys
脅
that
迫し
took
て
the
のけた連
minister's
中です。
grandson hostage.
妊婦一人を階段か
It
ら突
wouldn't
き落
be
として
impossible for them to push
証
a
拠を
lone
残さないなんて
pregnant woman down the stairs
できない
without
こと
leaving
じゃ
any
ないのかもしれない。
evidence. Oh, she's expression had completely sobered up.
奥さんは
They
連中に
murdered your wife.
殺された。
When Yuki died, I thought it as well. More precisely, I wanted to blame somebody, so I created a most valuable scapegoat. But without any clear evidence, that violent notion faded along with the wounds in my heart.
あの少女は私
Did
に
that
妻
girl
の死を予告し
know beforehand
脅迫したの
about
か、
my wife's death and was threatening me?
それとも
Or did she
妻の
prophesy
死を
that
予
death
言し
and was ordering
救う
me,
道を示したのか、
offering me a road to salvation?
そのどちらか
If
の
I
もの
had
と
to
した
choose
ら
between the two,
私は後者ではないかと考えます。
Oh, she smiled slightly in disbelief as he poured more beer from his bottle.
じゃあいいですよ。
Then, if I may,
赤坂さんの言う
if
通
what you
り、
say is true, then
フ
Rika
ルデリカ
Furude
は
was
未
a
来がわか
prophet
る預
in
言
the
者だとし
future.
ます。なら、なぜあの大災害が
If
予知で
so,
きなかった
why
んで
didn't
す
she predict that disaster?
あんな恐ろしいガス災害が起こると知ってて、どうして黙って
She
いた
knew
んで
that
す
that gas eruption was going to happen. Why did she remain silent?
ほんの数時間前でもいい。
Even a few hours beforehand would have been enough.
もし村に知らされてい
The
たら、ほ
village knew
と
then
んどの人は知ら
most
ず
of
に
the
済
people
ん
who
だか
had
もしれない
escaped
じゃない
without
ですか。
dying. The Great Hinamizawa Disaster. Memorialist. 59. 12. Article 12. March 31st, 1984. It was near the end of June of 1983. Volcanic gases from the Onikafushi swamp erupted and hit the village in the middle of the night. It was an unpleasant disaster, where the whole populace was wiped out. It caused a wave of panic about volcanic gas across the country, causing people to overreact over reports of odd smells. I hadn't heard of the blockade on Hinamizawa era being lifted, so it should still be cornered off.
それは
That's right. It was my turn to be lost for a response.
まあでも
Well,
親代様の生まれ変わりであるフルデリカが殺されたので
the reincarnation of
村が親
Oishiro-sama
代様の
was
怒りに触れ
killed.
て
The village
そ
may
れで
have
沼から正
incurred
気
the
が湧き
god's
出して
wrath,
村を死滅
making
さ
him
せたん
call
じゃないか
forth the miasma from the swamp to kill everyone.
そういう話が確
The
かに
explanation
南
is
沢
what
系の
the
生存した人間
survivors
たち
are
の間
whispering
で
about.
まことし
大石さん失礼
Sorry, Oshi.
今
Did you
殺
just
され
say
たとおっしゃいましたが
she was killed?
ん
Huh?
おう
Oh, yeah.
まあ
Well, I don't think it would be a
赤
problem
坂
if
さんになら
I
話して
told
も
you.
問題ないか
When I saw the news report about the gas disaster, I remembered that girl. When I found her name in the list of victims. That's why, at the time, I thought her own death she had predicted was due to the gas. It was after that I learned about the tabloid's series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa during the 5 years leading up to the disaster that became known as the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. And that string of mysterious deaths lined up exactly with what that girl had predicted. So I had always thought to ask Oshi-san about it, as she had been involved in the investigation. That's right. That was the reason for our reunion. But right now, Oshi had said Rika Furude didn't die in the disaster, but was killed.
最後の年のたたりについて
Can I ask about the last year of the curse?
うーん
I may be retired. I
退
still have
職
to
した
keep
とはい
things
え
confidential,
守
you
秘義
know.
務がありますよ
中井さんすい
Excuse
ま
me,
せん
madam.
お冷やでち
Do
ょ
you
っと
have
グ
anything
レードの
cold
高い地
that's
酒はあり
brewed
ませんか
locally? High grade, is if it there?
種類はお任せします
I'll leave the selection to you. Trying to loosen his lips.
いやいや
Oh
そういうつもり
my!
で言ったんじゃ
I
ない
didn't
んだ
mean
け
it
ど
that
な
way. Oh, she laughed loudly, not wholly unsatisfied, and stopped the hostess to tell her that the cheap booze was fine.
私も週刊誌
I
で
know
報
as
道さ
much
れている
as
通りの
was
とこ
written
ろ
in
まで
those
は知っています
magazines.
でも
But I don't
大
know
災害の
anything
年
about
の
the
たたりは
curse that
全
happened
く知りません
the year of the disaster.
例の大災害のせい
Because the
で
entire area around
南沢地区
Hinamizawa
全域が封鎖
was
されちゃい
sealed
ました
off,
から
you
ね
see.
最後の
There
年
wasn't
のた
much
たり
of
に
an
ついては
investigation that could
ほ
be
とんど
done
捜
on
査
the
ができ
last
てない
year
ん
of
で
the
すよ
curse.
何年か後に
Even
封鎖
after
が解け
several
たとしても
years, the
村
quarantine's
人のほとんど
lifted.
が死んでます
The
し
villagers are mostly
数
dead,
少ない生存者も
and what
親
few
戚の元なんか
survivors
に
there
散っ
were
て
mostly went to
所
stay
在が
with
ほとんどわからないで
relatives,
すからね
whereabouts were mostly unknown.
完全に迷
It's
宮入り
complete
です
dead end. Oshi seemed to postulate to himself as he stared at the ceiling, as if trying to work out a memory from the rusty cogs in his head. And then he said in a completely sober voice,
週刊誌なんかじゃ
"The
5年目の
magazines
たた
made
り
it
があ
seem
の
like
大
the
災
curse
害
of the
だ
fifth year
みたいな言い方を
was
して
the
ますけどね
disaster,
本当の5年
but
目
the
のたた
actual
りは
curse really happened on the
ちゃん
day
と綿流
of the
しの祭りの当日にあったんですよ 富武次郎ってい
A
う旅
photographer
行
by
写
the
真家
name
がいま
of
してね
Jiro Tomitake.
彼が犠牲に
He was the victim. Oshi gestured about the victim, tore out his own throat with his fingernails as he talked.
で
And the burned
その
corpse of the
富
woman
武氏の恋仲
Tomitake
の
was
女性
in
が
a relationship
岐阜
with
の山
was
中
found
で
in
焼死体
Gifu.
岐阜県警さんがあんま
The
り協力
Gifu
的じゃなか
provincial
ったので
police weren't very
こっ
cooperative.
ちはあまりよく
So I
状
don't know
況を
much
知ら
about
ないん
it
ですが
though.
一夜にして犠
There were
牲
two
者が2
victims
人も
in one night.
うーん
Actually,
実はね
let's see.
二人どこ
It
ろじゃ
wasn't
済
just
まないん
those
ですよ
two.
その翌
You
日になん
see,
ですがね
the next day,
私の後輩の熊谷君が
Kumakage-san,
捜査中
one of
に
my
車両ごと
subordinates
蒸
appeared
発しまし
along
て
with
ね
his car in the middle of his investigation. Kumakage was a younger detective that was going to be partnered with Oshi after we first met.
富武氏の
He was
事件
going
捜査
around
の
the
ために
village
村
to
に聞き
question
込みなん
people
かに回っ
about
てたん
the
ですよ
incident with Tomitake.
何かの事件に
He
巻き
might
込まれ
have
たのか
gotten
もしれ
caught
な
up
い
in something.
私と一緒だった
If he
な
was with me,
無事だったかもし
he
れない
may
と
have
思
been
うと
safe.
今で
Even
も
now,
悔しいですよ。
it still stings.
あの日
That
どういう
day,
わ
for
けか
some
私
reason, I did a real number on my
お腹
stomach.
をひどく壊しましてね、外回り
I
は
had to
遠慮しち
pass
ゃって
on
たん
going
ですよ。
around outside.
事件の真相に近づきすぎ
He
て
got too close to the truth. It was made to disappear.
と思ってます。
That's what I think.
クマちゃんは
Kuma-chan was
前途有
young
望
and
な
had
若
a
者だっ
promising
たけど、
future ahead of him.
まだ現
He
場経
still
験
didn't
が
have
不足して
enough
た。
experience on the scene.
トラブル慣れしてなかったん
He
です。
wasn't used to dealing with any complications. Oh, see, lamented the fact that he wasn't with his subordinate that day.
で、
And
さらに
then
翌日ですね。
the next day, you see
ああ、彼のことは
you know him
赤
well.
坂さんもご存知ですよね。
Akasaka-san.
ほら、
You know,
入江先生ですよ。
Dr. Ire.
覚えてます？
You remembered him.
あ
Ah,
あ、あの病院の
that young
若い先生
doctor
です
from the hospital.
ぼんやりと覚えてます。
I vaguely remember.
彼ですね。
For whatever reason,
どういうわけ
he
か
committed
睡
suicide
眠薬で
with
自
sleeping
殺しまし
pills.
て、遺書のため
No
には
suicide
なし。
note or anything.
司法解剖の結果でも睡
The
眠薬に
autopsy
よるものと
confirmed
断
that
定され
it
ま
was
した。
sleeping pills.
動機以外に不
Nothing
審
was
な
in
点
doubt
は
except
なし。
for the motive.
睡眠薬での死に見せかけるのは
It
そんなに
isn't
難
that
し
hard
く
to
な
make
い
it
んじ
look
ゃない
like
ですか。
somebody died from taking sleeping pills. Is it?
他殺の可能性は
Any possibility it was murder?
独身で離婚
He
歴も
was
な
a
し。
single. No prior marriages.
特定の女性と付き合っていた
It
とい
didn't
う
seem like he
話
was
も
going
な
out
し。
with anybody in particular.
少年野球チームの監
He
督
was
を
the
務
coach
め、
of the local junior
村人と
baseball
の
team.
親交もあり、
He was on
誰
good
からも
terms
好かれ
with
る
the
人物。
villagers. He was liked by everybody.
敵が見当たりま
I
せん
couldn't find
ね。
anybody who would want to do him harm.
まあ、それを調べるにも、
Well,
もう
any
あの
chances
大
to
災害
investigate
で
were
めちゃ
ruined
くちゃ
by
になっちゃいま
disaster,
したから
though.
ね。今となって
There's
は、
no way to find out
彼の
anything
身
about
辺
him
も調
now.
べようもありませんが。
それで
Then,
フルで理科の
what
死
about Rika Furude's death?
その当日で
It
す。
was that day.
昼頃に
Around noon,
神社に訪
some of
れ
the
た
old
村の
folks
老
were
人た
visiting
ち
the
が
shrine,
フルでリカの死体を発見しました。
discovered the corpse of Rika Furude.
他殺
Murder?
ああ、話す前にそのイカ
Before
そ
we
うめ
continue,
ん
you should probably stop
食べちゃっ
eating
といた
that
方がいいですよ。
squid suman.
無体な死に方
That bad? Oh, she nodded firmly.
死体は神
The
社の
corpse
境
was
内、
found on the shrine grounds
賽銭箱の脇でした
next。to the donation box.
もっとも閉めたのは
Although
他の
she
場
was
所で
probably
しょう
killed
ね。
somewhere else.
全裸で
That's because,
話
well, she was complete. That's because, well, she was completely naked.
足の裏は汚れてません
There
で
wasn't
し
any
た。
dirt on the soles of her feet.
愉快犯の犯行
Any sign it was some sort of sexual assault.
司法解剖の結果、
I think that.
性的暴行の痕跡
According
は
to the
認められませ
autopsy,
んでした。
there wasn't any indication of that.
分かったのは、
What we
薬物で
know
昏
is
睡
that
さ
she was
せられてか
rendered
ら、
unconscious
あの
by
場
some
所
sort
へ
of
運ば
drug,
れ、
carried to
首
that
を
place,
切開、
and
回
had her
復、
abdomen sliced wide open.
意図的に
Her
臓器を引
organs
き
were
ずり出し
deliberately
て、
removed
四
and
方
scattered
に散
about.
らしてみせました。
昏睡
Conscious?
では
Then she wasn't cut
回復は死後で
open
はなく
after her death?
うん、
That's
なんて
horrible. That girl's prediction
すごい
was right on the mark. I'm pretty sure she was more detailed about the other deaths that led up to her own. For example, I think she said the housewife that was beaten to death on the 4th year had her head split open. Then in that case, did she know that her own death would be so terrible? There must have been some moments where she wanted to doubt the validity of her own predictions. But as people died exactly as prophesied, as the years passed, that prophecy would only come closer to fruition. And then, facing the final year, unable to struggle against her own destiny, her all too young life was snuffed out. And in such a cruel way. Knowing exactly knowing that her days were numbered, unable to fight the tide of events heralding her end, my heart ached at her helplessness.
この死に方で
About
す
the way she
が、
died,
どう
it
も
seemed
単
like
な
it
る病
wasn't
気趣味
just
ってわけ
somebody's
じゃ
sick
ないみたいなんで
taste.
す。と言いますのはで
What
す
I'm saying
ね、
is, I told you
平
about
見沢は
how
かつて
Hinamizawa used to be
鬼が住
home
ん
to
でたって
demons,
話
didn't
は
I?
以前も
Yeah, I
そんな話
think I
が
remember.
平見
The
沢村
festival
のお祭りの
Hinamizawa
綿流しっていうのは
Watanagashi,
そ
the
も
cotton
そも
drifting, seemed to be
綿
stern,
流し、つまり
seen
臓
from
物
drifting
流しから転じ
entrails.
たものらしいんです。なんでも
It seems it
人
came
食
from
い
the
鬼
man
たち
eating
が
demons
犠
ripping out
牲者を
part
ば
their
らして
victims,
内臓を
throwing their
川に
organs
捨て
into
た
the river.
つまり
In other
南沢
words,
村においては
in
内
Hinamizawa,
臓を引きずり出すことに
pulling
宗
out
教的な意
entrails
味があった
had some sort of religious meaning. Well, this is according to the old
平見
tales
沢
of
村の昔
Hinamizawa.
話によるとですね、人食い
Two
鬼と
actors
人
had
間が仲良
arbitrator
く暮らすため
so
の
the
調停
humans
者と
and
し
the
て
man-eating demons
親
could
代
live
様と
together
いう神
peacefully.
様が降臨してい
A
る
god
ってことになってるらしい。
known as Oyashiro-sama descended from the heavens.
確か古出理香
If I
は
recall,
その親代
Rika
様の生
Furude
ま
was
れ
said
変
to
わ
be
り
the
だと言
living
われてるんでした
incarnation
ね。
of that Oyashiro-sama. Wasn't she?
ね
Yeah.
え、ですから
So,
その嵐
Killing
との
open
であ
Rika
るフルデ
Furude,
リカを
who was
回
a
復
living
して殺すのは
would be to
村
the
の
village
信仰に
nothing
対
less
する
than
これ以上ない
absolute
冒涜行為と
sacrilege.
言えるわけです。
信仰への冒涜。
Absolute sacrilege.
それはつまり
In other words,
親
he
代
used
様への
sacrilege
冒涜
towards
ということ
Oyashiro-sama.
ですね。
あとは
The rest you
赤
should
坂さん
know
も知っての
about
通りです。
Akasaka-san.
親代様の
Wrath
た
of
たりが起こるのは
Oyashiro-sama
その晩
would
のこ
occur
と
that
です。
same night.
ひなみ沢
The great
大災害。
Hinamizawa disaster. The official explanation was some sort of swamp upstream erupted with toxic volcanic gases, which enveloped the village.
発生した沼
The
は
swamp where
鬼
it
の淵
erupted
沼と言い
was
まして、
called Onifukuchi Swamp.
南沢村の旧名
It was the origin
鬼
of
ヶ淵村
Hinamizawa's
の名
old
前の
name,
源となった沼です。
Onifukuchi Village.
村の言い伝えで
According to the
は
village lore,
こ
the
の
depths of
沼
the
の奥
swamp
底は地
apparently
獄に
lead
つ
to
ながっ
hell,
てるそうで、
where the man-eating
か
demons
つて
came
村にやっ
from.
てきた人食い鬼たちはこの沼から訪れたのだとか。
できすぎですね。
That almost seems too perfect.
いやい
Oh,
や
no,
い
no,
や、
no.
ま
That's
だ
just
ま
the tip
だ
of
で
the
きすぎてますよ。村には伝承
There
が
was
ありま
another
し
bit of
て、
folklore in the village.
親代様
If
がお怒りにな
Oyashiro-sama
られ
became
ると、
angry,
地獄の
the
川が
cauldrons of
開
hell
いて
would
正
open
気
up
が
and
溢れ出す。
miasma will flow
なん
out,
て言うんですよ。
or so they say.
村人にとって
To the
地獄
villagers,
というのは
hell was
沼の
at,
底の
at
こ
the
と。
bottom of the swamp.
つまりそこから
So basically,
正気が
the
溢れ出して
miasma poured
村
out
を襲う
somewhere,
ということ。
poured out something, the village, smothering the village.
そう。
Yeah,
つまり、
basically.
フルでリカ子と親
Due
代
to
様の生まれ変わ
religious
りが
sac-
冒
due
涜され
to
る殺され
sacrilegious
方をし
way
た
that
ので、
Rika Furude,
親代
the
様がお
living
怒りになっ
incarnation of
て、
Oyashiro-sama,
たた
was
りとして
killed.
あの大災
The
害を
village
起こした
incurred the
と。
wrath of Oyashiro-sama in the form of that disaster.
そういう話がまか
That
り通っ
seems
ちゃってるん
to
で
be
すよ。
their explanation.
つまり
So what you're
あの
saying
大
is
災
that
害は人為的な
disaster
もの。
wasn't a natural one?
うーん。
Well,
確かに
everybody does seem to fit
話
together
が
a
で
little
きすぎ
too
てますから
well.
ね。親代様のたたりが
Oyashiro-sama's
実
curse
在
doesn't
せ
really
ず、
exist.
本当
And
の
everything
偶
really
発
was
的事
just
故
a
でも
matter
ないっ
of
てんなら、
coincidence.
そう疑いたくもなりますよね。
A wry smile formed on Oshi's face as he listened to my absurd take on things. He wore an expression as though, even if it were absurd, there was a time he had thought the same thing as well.
村の信仰をめぐって
In
狂信
regards
的
to
な
the
一派
religious
があった
beliefs
と
of the
仮定し
villagers, I suppose there was more fanatical group among them.
彼らが親代様のお怒
And
り
that
がある
group
ような
created
状
a
況を
situation
作り出し
that would occur
大災害を実
Oyashiro-sama's
行してみせ
wrath
た。
and enacted the disaster to make it seem like the truth.
もちろん、
Of course,
私は笑いませ
I
ん
won't
よ。
laugh.
私も
I wandered down
一度
that
なら
line
ずと
of
もそう
reasoning
考えた
one
ことはあり
more,
ます。
more than once myself.
ですが、
However,
南沢村がいか
even
に
though
小さい
Hinamizawa
村
is a
と
small
はいえ、
village,
人
it
口は
still
1000
has a
人以上。
population of over 1,000 people.
それを一夜にして
Murder
抹
that
殺
many
する
people
なん
in a
て、
single night
どう
doesn't
考えても現
seem
実的じゃない
realistic,
で
no
す。
matter how you think about it. The gas eruption was believed to happen around 2 a.m., several hours before dawn, in that short amount of time, going around and killing all the villagers in a way that made it look like poison gas didn't seem feasible at all.
ガスの発生した沼も
The
ま
swamp
た
the gas erupted from
宗教的な意味
says
があ
some
りましたよ
religious
ね。
significance, didn't it?
だとしたら
That's the case.
沼に
Then
何か
maybe
仕掛け
there
があっ
was
て
something set up in the
神
swamp,
の裁きをいつでも再
something
現
that
で
would
きるよう
be
な何かがあっ
activated
たとか。
when a divine verdict was rendered.
自衛隊の発表では沼が発生源だ
According
と
to
いう
the
ことになってますよ
JSDF
ね。
press release, the swamp was declared the source of the eruption.
調査チームとかが詳しく調べ
This
た
was
上での発
after
表ですから
everything
ね。
was thoroughly looked over by their investigative team.
そんな仕掛けがあった
If
ら
anything,
見つけてると思いますけどね。
I think they would have found it.
沼そのものに仕掛け
It
があるとは
wouldn't
限り
necessarily
ません
have
よ。
been in the swamp itself.
ほら、
Come on.
聞いたことありませんか
Have you heard about it?
遠くの泉の
The
水
old
が枯
story
れた
about
ら
how
裏の泉も
how
枯
in
れ
a
た。
faraway spring dried
なん
up,
て昔
the
話。
village spring dried up as well.
何ですかそりゃ。
What do you mean by that?
水源ってのは
Many waterways are
地下水脈
connected
とで繋がって
by
いることが多いんです。
underground aquifers.
沼や泉
Swamps
は
and springs are the
それ
only
が
part that
地上
manage
に
to
露出
pop
した
up
部分に過ぎませ
above
ん
the。surface.
つまり
So,
赤坂
what
さん
you're
が言いた
saying
い
is
の
that
は
Onfugushi
鬼の
Swamp
淵沼
is
とつながっ
connected
た
to
別
another
の沼
swamp
か
or
泉があっ
spring.
て、それに
And
何
there
ら
was
かの仕掛
something
け
the
をすると
villagers rigged up
鬼が淵
there
沼
long
の圧
ago,
力とか水圧
something
とか
that changes the
そういう
pressure
も
of
のがいろいろ変わ
Onfugushi
って
Swamp, causing
毒
it
ガス
to
が
erupt
噴出
with
する仕掛けを
poisonous gas.
大昔の村人がこさえていたと、そういう話ですよ
Is that
ね。
what you're getting at? Oh, she laughed heartily, commending the fact that the youngins have a nice flexible way of thinking. That was a former detective in him. Even though it was a hypothesis that he didn't come up with, he still had the presence of mind to not dismiss it right away.
面白い話です。
Not just an interesting theory.
それが立証できたら、日本の犯罪史始まって以来の空前規模の大量殺人
And
って
that
こ
proves
と
to be
になります
true,
よ。
then it would be unexpectedly the largest mass murder in history of Japan.
ひなみ沢村の封鎖が解除
Once
さ
the
れたら、
quarantine at Hinamizawa
ぜ
village
ひ調べるべ
lifted,
きだと思います。
I think it would definitely be investigated.
大石様、
Oh, Shisan,
県警にはまだ
do you
影響
still
力
have any connections to that XX prefecture police?
そこそこには、
Somewhat.
柔道部の
And
名
our
門ですか
advisors
ら
are
ね
their。judo classes.
今でも夏の合
Clearly
宿やなん
now
かに
I
はちょく
pop
ちょ
up
く出
during
かけてま
summer
す。
training camps and such.
ひなみ沢村の封鎖解除が
I
い
don't
つにな
know
るか
when
わ
the
かりません
quarantine
が、
at Hinamizawa village will be
ぜひ調
lifted.
べさせてください。
But please let me help investigate.
わかりました。
Got it.
大石さんはこの
Oh, Shisan,
ひなみ沢
how do
村
you
連
feel about
続
the
開始事件、
string? How do you feel about the string of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa?
どう捉えています
They
か？
call it the curse of Oyashiro-sama.
当時の署内
At
は
the time,
村
the
人の圧
villagers were
力で
putting a
ぎゅ
lot
うぎゅ
of
うでした
pressure
ね。
on the station.
連続事
The
件は
initial sense
存
of
在し
things
ない
was
と
that
いう
the
のが当時
cases
の公式
were
見解でした。
unrelated.
事件はこ
Each
こ
case
で、
was separate,
またそれぞれ
each
に
with
解
their
決
own
していると。
resolution.
バカな。
That couldn't be true. That couldn't be.
村の
Even
信仰
though
に
it
基
was
づいた
blatantly
連続事件
obvious
であ
that
る
the
ことは
cases
明
were
白なの
connected
に、
based on the villagers' religious beliefs.
赤坂さん、そりゃ5年も続い
Akazuka-san,
て
I can only
派手
say
な
that
最後があっ
now
た今
because
だ
the
から言える
rather
ことですよ。
grandiose way things ended after 5 years.
あの当時は偶然の事件が偶然にも綿流
At
し
the
の日に
time,
起こる。
those coincidental incidents were just happened to coincidentally occur on the day of Watanagashi.
今年は起きないといいな。
Just
なん
it,
て感
it
じだっ
would
たん
be
です
nice if nothing happened this year. Kind of feel to it.
偶然なものか。
Coincidence?
少女は初めから
The girl predicted
全て予言
everything
してい
from the
た。
beginning.
少女
Girl.
フルで理科です。
Rika Furude.
あの子は
That child warned me about
私
all
に
the
その後の
incidents
事件を
that
全
would
て予
happen
告してみせま
afterwards.
した。
赤坂さん、
Akasaka-san,
そりゃ
is
本当ですか？
that true?
はい。
Yes,
あの子は言ったん
the
で
girl
す。
says much.
翌年、
The next year,
ダムの
the
現場
dam
監督
foreman
が
would be
殺され、
killed, and his
死
corpse
体をバラバ
dismembered.
ラにされると。のみにとどまらず、
Not only that, she
その
warned
後
me
に
of
続
all
く
the
連続
events
事
that
件を
would
すべて
transpire in the following
私に
years.
赤坂さんがその話を聞いたのは
She
昭
told you
和
all
の
that.
何年の話ですか？
What year was it?
私が少女と出会ったのは
I met the girl.
誘
I
拐
was
事件
investigating
調
the
査の折
kidnapping
ですから
incident. So, June
昭和53年
78.
6月です
バラバラ殺
A
人
year
の
before
前
the
年に
dismemberment murder. The wrinkles formed between Oshi's eyebrows as he closed his eyes, began to digest what I just told him.
赤坂さん
Akasaka-san.
フルで理科が
You're wrong
人
about
通力で
Frederica
未来が
knowing
分
the
かった
future through some divine medium.
なんて話がなしだとするなら
Yep.
今さら
You're just
私を
trying to
驚
shock
か
me.
せるため
I'm
の
going to
作
be
り
really
話だ
angry, you know.
なん
私は
I'm
真実を話しています連続開始事件は
then the script behind the chain of mysterious deaths was written a year
もう全
before.
てシナリオそしてその予告の通り
It just as predicted.
フルで
Rika
リカは
Fude
殺されました
was killed.
私は初め
At first, I thought
大
she
災害
meant
による死を
that
指
she
し
would
た
be
ものと
killed
思って
by
いた
in the disaster.
でも
However,
彼
now
女
I
の死
know
は
that
災
her
害で
death
は
was
なく
just wasn't due to that,
殺人者の手による残忍なものであることが分かりま
at
し
the
た
hand of a murderer.
彼女は
She
殺され
said
る
she
と言っ
would be
た
killed.
彼女は自
At
分
that
の
point
死を
in time, she knew more of
具
or
体
less
的にあ
that
の
her
時
own
点で知
death
っ
would
ていたん
occur.
です。
なら
Then
フルで理
why
科は
didn't Rika Fude try to run
どう
away?
して逃げ出さなかったんですかね
うん
仮にそう
Even
い
her
った
death
死の
was
シナ
already
リオ
spelled
が
out
す
for
でに
her.
出来上がっていたとして彼女はそれを
Knowing
知
that
りかつ
she still had a
数
grace
年
period
と
of
いう
several
猶予
years.
期間があったわけですよ
Didn't she?
ね逃げ出すな
She had
り
plenty of time to
警察
try
に
to
相
run
談する
away
なりの
or
時間はあった
consult
はず
the
です
police.
なぜ抗わずに
Why did she just
自ら
accept
の
her
死を
death
受
with
け入れ
no
たんです
resistance?
わかりません。
I don't know.
フルでリカは
And though Rika
村
Fude
の
was doted
年寄
upon
り
by
連中
other
に可愛
older
がられ
folks
てはい
in
ましたがね
the village, you see.
両親を
After
失
she
った
lost her
後は
parents, she
親
had
類
no
もゼロ
living
で身寄りは
relatives
な
and
く
lived a fairly
親しい友
solitary
人と
life,
肩を寄せ合うだ
other
け
than
の
hanging
孤独な
around
生活
with
で
some
したから
close
ね
friends.
戦う力も頼れる
It
人
might
間
have
も
been that she didn't have any
身近
power
に
to
はい
fight
なかったのか
or
もしれません
anybody to rely on.
彼女は自分の死に対して
She must have tried
誰かに
singling somebody
SOS
for
を
help
発
in
しはしなか
regards
った
to
ん
her
でしょう
own
か
death, though.
村と警察が穏
You
便な
know
関係
very
じゃな
well
かっ
that
た
the
のは
village and the police weren't
赤坂
very
さんも知られるところだと思います
amiable with one another. Akasaka-san.
少なくとも
At the very end,
私
at
の
least,
耳に
I
は
never heard anything about
フ
Rika
ルでリカ
Fude
が自身の
seeking
身柄の保護
protection
を求
from
めてきたという
anybody.
情報はありませんあるいは
Or
自身が
it could
宗
be
教
that she
的な
simply
生贄
resigned
にされ
herself
る
to
ことに
being
対
a
し
religious
定感という
sacrifice.
か達観というかそういうものがあったのかもしれませんね
そんなはずはない。
I spoke decisively. At the time, she said it. She had definitely said that she wanted to live happily, that she wanted to spend her time surrounded by her dear friends. She hadn't given up on life. She had hoped to keep on living. That moment had became dumbstruck.
どうしました
What's the matter?
赤坂さん
Akasaka-san?
I-
No, it's nothing.
いえ、
I fell into silence. Oh, she folded his arms and began murmuring in complications. Complication again. Eventually, he stood up and headed towards the hallway to find the hostess, yelling that he wanted a pen and paper. And Oshi nosy, even though he was thinking, left the room immediately, fell into a chill silence. I stood up. It was then I realized that I was drunk enough to be unsteady on my feet. When I stood open the window, a beautiful yet somehow ethereal moon drifted across the night sky. It was just now that I realized she hadn't accepted her own death. She wanted to keep living, happily and joyfully. She had said that quite clearly to me. But I was a fool. I hadn't been asked explicitly, so I hadn't realized it. She had made it clear that as day that she didn't want to die. Wasn't that her cry for help? She didn't say as much as she wanted help, but even given that, it wasn't as though she wasn't looking for salvation. Without any family and unable to trust the police, she instead told somebody without any retaliation to the village. Relation to the village. Somebody from a faraway place. Me. Help me. Help me. Help me. She had gone around and cut the phone cords. If I made that phone call and learned of Yuki's death, I would have been fallen into despair. If I was in that state, even if she was looking for help, her cries would have fallen on deaf ears. That's why, knowing everything, she had cut the phone cords. She wanted even a little time to seek help from me. Oh, she just before now had lamented that one of the younger officers got mixed up in the case, having been erased because he wasn't there. I was feeling the same way. If only I was there in June of 1983, I could have protected her. In June 1983, it would have been 5 years since the kidnapping took place. While raising the only daughter, Yuki had left me, putting all my youth and passion to my work, honing my wits and courage, wrestling with difficult cases. Nothing like my failings during the kidnapping incident would have occurred. I wouldn't have been slow to react in one-on-one fight, and at that point I jumped into a foreign mafia-run gambling parlor where I learned to deal with atomic weapons, let alone handguns. I had grown so much that in 1983, I couldn't have been even compared to how I was in 78. That's why, if I was by her side, I should have been able to save her life. No matter what conspiracy or foul plots were drew near, I definitely would have protected her. She, even though sounding resigned, should have still been able to ask me for help. I just didn't realize it. I couldn't realize it. This is why I couldn't have realized it if I was told of Yuki's accident. I wasn't able to realize it. I wanted to cry. If I had taken her words to heart, I would have prevented Yuki's accident. And I would have been able to protect the girl to whom I owed a debt from even a predetermined death. She must have been expecting that from me. I learned about the disaster while watching television in my house. Until I learned about that, I had forgotten about Hinamizawa. In order to recover from the shock of Yuki's death, I had tried to remove everything about the place from my memory. What an ungrateful fool I was. Even though in exchange for saving her, the girl had told me of a way to save Yuki. I was unable to accept her gratitude. And now here we were. She hadn't died in her sleep due to a natural disaster. She was slit open while still alive, killed while suffering the disgrace of having her organs torn out. She must have known beforehand that on the day of that year, she would be killed in such a terrifying way. But even knowing that end waited her, she was all too weak. A lone girl without anybody to rely upon, unable to seek help, had to swallow her own predetermined death, and left this mortal coil. She said she wanted to live. She said she wanted to live happily. That's all she wanted. She didn't ask for anything extravagant. For any person that was ever born, it was very basic of desires. She never said a peep about wanting money or that she wished that she was in somebody else's situation. She had said it. That if all deaths were preordained, then hers was probably all according to plan. She might have been a lone, frail girl, but I don't think she would have accepted it all without at least putting up a fight. There must have been, in some small way, some form of resistance that she mustered. And with that she could muster, seeking my help was part of that. God damn it! I howled. I stomped the floor. Why did I become a police officer in the first place? How could I call myself an officer if I couldn't save a single girl from that misfortune that was waiting her? Just because there was so much going on that at that time I couldn't process the fact she was asking for help? Yeah, that's right. I was still green. If I was in that situation now, I would have definitely been able to help her. But it was all over. Even if I wanted to settle the regrets she left behind, Hinamizawa as a dangerous area was still quarantined. Most of the people involved were already dead, with a few that did remain spread around the country, unable to be traced. That's the stage of that tragedy was still off limits as well. The police investigation was put on hold, the case is slowly being buried in the sands of time. Just like how I wouldn't have known unless she had asked me about it.
赤坂さん、
Akasaka-san,
大丈夫ですか？
are you okay? At some point, she had returned with a notebook in hand. Sorry for the yawn. Until I saw the expression on Oshi's face, I didn't realize that I was in tears. I never realized. I never realized she wanted help.
赤坂さん、
Akasaka-san,
落ち着いてください。
calm down.
でも
But
もう
oh,
全
too
部遅いんです
late.
少
She
女は
was
殺された
killed
こんなにも無
in
残
such
な
a
殺され方で
atrocious manner.
私は
She
頼ら
was
れたの
counting
に
on me, but I couldn't save her.
救えなかった救えな
I
かっ
couldn't
た
save her.
村人と良好な
It might
関係
not
を
be
築
a
かなかった
fault
私
for.
にも責任があるかもしれません。
It might also be a fault for not building up a amicable relationship with the village.
フルでリカが
Rika
私にそ
Fruity
れ
had
を打
told
ち明
me
けて
about
くれ
it.
た
I
な
might
ら
have been able to extend a
私だっ
helping
て
hand.
救いの手を差し伸べられたかもしれない。彼女が打ち明けに足る信
Was
頼を
able
築
to
けな
build
か
up
った。
enough trust for that.
後悔しています。
That's something I regret. When Oshi said the word trust, it weighed on me even more. Yes, since she had given me her trust, she had trusted me. Meaning that she thought that I had been able to ward off the fate of her foreseen death. She believed in that. I cried. I fell to my hands and knees and began to bawl. Eventually, she spoke quietly.
赤坂さん、
Akasaka-san,
悔しいですか？
does it upset you?
悔しいです
It does.
ならば、
Then,
フルでリカの仇を取る
there's
に
only
値する
one
方
way
法
worth
が
mentioning for Rika
一つだけあり
Frude
ま
to
す。
have her revenge.
そんな方法が
Is there really?
あるんですか
Is there a way to do that? She showed me a pen and notebook.
フルでリカの死を悼むためにも、
In order to probably mourn the
せ
death
めて
of Rika
私たちで真
Frude,
相、
we have to at least find out the truth.
真
The truth?
そうです。
Yes.
フルでリカだけ
Not
じゃな
just
い。
Rika Frude.
大勢が死にました。
Lots of people died.
彼らの無念は計り知れません。
Their lament must be immeasurable.
でも彼らの死
But
は
their deaths were
あの
left
大災害
unsettled
でうや
because
む
of
や
the
にされ、
disaster.
今は捜
Now
査
we
すら
can
さ
even
れることな
investigate
く、
them, as their
忘却
memory
の彼方
fades
に
into
葬られよう
oblivion.
としています。大勢死んだ。
Many people died.
おやすさんも殺された。
The old man was
クマちゃん
killed.
も消され
Kumachan
た。
was
みん
erased.
な
Everyone
犠
was
牲
a
になった。
victim.
なのに警察
But
は
the
捜
police
査もできない。
can't even investigate it.
誰に無念が晴ら
Who's
せる
going
の
to
か。
take care of their parting regrets?
私たちだけなんです
Only
よ
we。can.
赤坂さん。
Akasaka-san!
私たちに
We find
真相が
the truth.
ええ、
Yes,
明かせますよ。
we'll find it.
連続開始事件の全
I've
て
been
の現
around
場を踏み
every one of the
村の裏事情に
string of
精通する
mysterious
私と
deaths, and know all
連
the
続開始
inner
事件の
workings
前
of the
年に
village.
フルで理科から重
You
要
were
な
told
真
an
実を明
important
かさ
truth
れた
the
あ
year
なたとな
before
ら
that happened by Rika Furude. We can do it.
でも
But
もう
they're
死んでしまったんですよ。
dead.
そうです
That's right.
フルで理科は死にまし
Rika
た
Furude died.
あなたが青2歳だった
You
か
were
ら
too
救えなかっ
experienced,
た
so you couldn't save her. Oh, she grabbed me, who was a wreck, and lifted me firmly by the lapels.
だから
That's why
その
the
償
tone
い
for
と
that
して
we
真
reveal
相
the
を究
truth.
明するんですあなたの話
And
が
what
事
you
実
say
な
is
ら
true.
全て
And
の
all
事
the
件は
incidents
計
that
画
were
というこ
part
と
of
になる
some greater design.
そうならば
And
調べ
if
方
that's
は
the
全
case,
然変わってくるん
then
ですから
how we
ね
investigate needs to change completely.
私は
I intend to
今
spend
夜おかげ
tonight
で
summarizing
あなたと
all the
私の持
information
つ
you
全て
and I
の情
have,
報をノートにまと
and
め
then get in
明
contact
日
with
の
one of
朝
my
一番
former
で
subordinates.
元の部下た
First
ちと
thing
連
in the
絡を取る
morning.
つもりですあの事件を
We're
終
not
わ
going
ら
to
せ
let
る
the
ものが
case go cold.
絶対に
We're
暴いてやる
definitely
んで
going to
す
crack it wide open.
甘く
Crack it open. Crack it open.
甘く
ねえ
We will.
あれから数
Several
年が経
years
過
have
しました
passed, but it's not beyond the statute of limitations.
捜査は中断であって
Even
も
the case has been
終了ではない
postponed, it's not closed.
まだ続いているんです
Still going.
続けさせるん
We're
で
going
す
to keep it going.
私たちがです
え
Yeah,
え
you're right.
やりましょう
Let's do it.
お
Oh,
いさん
Shizan.
このま
I
ま
won't let it end this
終
like
わらせ
this.
たりなんかしない
I won't let it end like this.
絶対
I'm certain
私たち
We
が
will
この
uncover
真
the
相を暴
truth.
いてみせるんです絶対
we
に
can absolutely will. I demonstrated my resolve to Oshi by crying out those words. And just then,
パパ
aww, the sliding door behind me opened and Miyuki revealed herself, all simply rubbing her eyes. My shouting must have awoken her. Then she rushed over to me.
どうしたのパパ
What's wrong, Papa?
パパ
Papa,
泣いてるの
why are you crying?
なんでもない
It's nothing, Miyuki.
なんでもないよ
It's nothing.
みゆき
I tried hard to smile while wiping away my tears, and though Miyuki looked like she was about to cry herself, she extended her hand.
大丈夫また怖い夢を見た
Did
の
you have another scary dream?
泣かないで
Don't cry, Papa. And when she made that gesture towards me, I saw the figure of another girl overlapping with her. And her innocent gaze and innocent expression felt frustratingly nostalgic, filling me with painful torment. A girl who couldn't be here because I didn't reach out to her. She borrowed my daughter's body to offer me words of comfort.
赤坂
Akasaka.
泣かないでください
Please
な
don't
のです
cry. It might have been a hallucination. Maybe a convenient illusion formed by my selfish dreams. However, that was her voice. I'm certain I heard it. Rather than blame me for my mistake, she was compassionate.
ああ泣くものか
Am I crying?
泣くより
After
ま
all,
ず
I have something more important to do than crying.
みゆきパパはね
Before you were born,
お前が生まれる前に
Papa met a girl in
ひなみ沢
Hinamizawa
ってところだ
who was like an angel.
天使みたいな女の子に会って
An angel? Really?
あ
Yep. She was
可愛く
cute
て
and kind.
優しくてみゆきにも
I want her to meet you.
会わせてあげたかったな
Right. That's already an impossible wish. That future is already gone.
じゃあみゆきその子とお友達
Then I want to be friends with that girl. I'm looking forward to it.
今度みゆ
Next
き
time
も
you
連
go,
れて行って
take me
ね
with you
ひなみ沢に
to Hinamizawa. Even so, there is still something I can do.
あ
Of
そうだね。
course.
いつか一緒に
We'll meet here together.
会いに行こ
Someday.
必ず
I'm sure of it. Yay! Someday, I'm sure, we will see her again. That summer, the Higurashi cried in Hinamizawa. That's all they do. That's all the Higurashi do. All they do is cry. Yeah, froze? What's wrong with this? Oh, there we go. Oh, she and I vowed to bring the truth of the case to light instead of... Everything ended in 1985. I, at least wanted to apologize, had searched for her grave. After the state autopsy, her remains were entrusted to one of the shrine followers. In the future, when the quarantine on Hinamizawa area was lifted, they would be returned to her family grave. However, unsure to who exactly took the remains of Rika Furude, until today, I couldn't even apologize to her. In the future, when the quarantine is lifted, all I could do was wait until whoever that person is returns to the grave. What I couldn't do right now was not apologize to her. Instead, I was able to meet her again. Until I was able to meet her again, I would reveal the truth, and dispel the regrets. Even now, sporadic eruptions of gas in Hinamizawa area meant that the prospect of the quarantine being lifted wasn't happening anytime soon. Anytime soon. Most likely, it seemed that she had no intention of meeting me again until I found the truth. That's why the quarantine would be lifted, or so I thought. Until that day, I gasped the truth. It was the following year. She and I co-authored a book of the string of mysterious deaths leading up to the Great Hinamizawa disaster. I decided on the title. Higurashi. When they cry. When the cicadas cry. That's because for those few days I was in Hinamizawa, the sound that I remember the most was the cry of the Higurashi. I could only wish that based on this book, those people involved in that incident could refresh their memories and bring to light a new truth. He's using the word truth again and again. And more importantly, nothing like this ever happens again. I wrote this in the afterword.
この惨劇
Why
が
this tragedy happened.
どうして起こされたの
We
か
can't reach the truth by
私た
ourselves.
ちだけでは真相に至ることが叶いません
If you're
どう
reading
かこれを
this,
読んだあなた
please discover the truth.
真相を解き明
That
かして
is
くだ
our
さい
only wish.
それだけが私たちの願いで
Kurada
す
Oshi. Mamoru Akasaka. This year, the quarantine in Hinamizawa still hasn't been lifted. Higurashi! Alright, that is Himin Beyoshi, the time-killing chapter. Alright, all cast review. Alright, guys, what do you think about this chapter? It's very different. It has a lot of different feel to the other ones. Still a mystery, but a little bit, a bit different. We get to learn a bit more about the past of the characters. Mostly, we finally get more confirmation that Rika is something extra in this story. Where it's barely shown in the first 3 chapters. Here is much more explicit.
Eh, この度は日暮の泣く頃に水暇つぶしを プレイしてくださり
Oh,
誠に
the
あり
thanks
が
are
と
all
うござ
mine,
い
sir.
ます。
All mine, sir.
ふん
So cute.
いやいや、
Oh,
なんだかんだと
no
言いま
matter
して
what
も
anybody else
今回の
says.
シナリオは
I
私
was
の
the
独
star of
壇
the
場でしたから
scenario this
ね。
time.
しかも
Top of
渋い
that,
ジ
they
ャ
had
ズ調
some
なテー
nice
マ曲まで
jazzy
追
theme
加。
music.
これで笑えなきゃど
We
こで
got
笑え
laugh
って言うんですか
here.
ね。
Look at you laugh.
というわけで
Anyways,
大石は
has
そろ
there
そろ
been
出
too
過
much
ぎ
of
な
you
のです
lately,
よ。
Oshi?
え、
Huh?
それはどう
What
いう
do
意
you
味
mean
です
by
か？
that?
リカ
Because... What the heck?
言葉通りの意味じ
She
ゃ。
meant that literally! Mion! There's Mion! It's been a long time we haven't seen you.
あれだけ出番があってここまで出張ろうとは身の
We're
程
gonna
をわ
put
きまえ
it
ない
for you
こ
to
とで
have
ござ
a
いましたよ。
spotlight here, even though you already have the screen time.
今回はメインヒロインは
Rika-chan
リ
was
カ
the
ちゃん
main
以外
hero
み
and
んな
everybody
出番
else
ほとんどなかった
didn't
か
really
ら
have
ね。
any appearances, did they?
今回は箸
Yeah,
休め
this
的な
time
シナリオだから
scenario
と
was
は
a
聞い
bit
てたけ
side
ど、こ
story.
こま
But
で
I
人
didn't
数
think
がない
that
がしろ
even
にされる
they
とは
would
思わなかったよ。
out the main cast this much.
ミオンさんはまだいい方では
You
ござい
had
ま
it
せ
so
んの。
bad, Mion-san.
多少は登場し
You
て
see
いま
had
した
a few
よ。
appearances, did you not?
私とレナさん
But
なんか
Renessa
気
and I
配も
didn't
出
even
て
have
き
a
ませんでし
cameo.
ょ。レナはジャケットにも登場してま
Renessa
す
still
です
shows
か
up
ら
in the cover
ま
a
だ
lot,
マシなのです
so
よ。
she's still okay.
ということはつまり何です
That's
か。
exactly what you're trying to say then.
私だけが一人のけ者で
That
出
I
番
was the
なし
outside with no
というこ
appearance?
となんでございま
Is
す
that
よ。
it?
ニパ
Rika's like, nope,
ー
no, babe.
私だけこの扱いはひ
They
ど
only
い
treat
で
me
すわ。
horribly.
かわいそうかわい
How
そうです
sad,
よ
how。sad.
きっとだんだん扱いが悪くなって最後には脇役に
They'll
転落
probably
してい
keep
るに
treating
違い
you
ない
worse
の
and
で
worse
す
until
よ。
they finally drop you a supporting role.
そんなのあんまりですわ。
That's just too much.
そんなことないよ。
That's not true.
さとこちゃんの
There's
ことが
nothing
好
people
きな
who
人
like
だって大勢いるん
Satoko-chan.
だもん。そんなひ
They
どい
won't
扱
treat
い
you
になん
that
かなら
horribly,
ないよ。
okay?
ね。こんな扱い。
I won't be treated like this. Not being mean to Satoko. Rena's like, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with this?
きっと次こそ出番がいっぱいあると思うな。思うな。
Next time.
元気出してこ
So cheer up, okay?
しか
But
し、今回のシナ
I
リオ
didn't hear
は
that
お
this
まけ
scenario
的
was
なシ
supposed
ナ
to
リオ
be
とは
somewhat
聞い
of
てたけ
a
ど、
bonus story.
実際どうよ。
But is it really?
なんだか
I
随
think
分
that this kind
話
of
が
thing-
ややこしくなったように思
Things
うんだ
got
けど。
complicated.
僕には難し
The story was
くて
difficult for me
よ
to
くわかんない
understand.
お話だったのですよ。
Yeah.
何しろ
What I
信じら
found
れ
the
なかっ
hardest
た
to
の
believe
は
was that
連
the
続
year
開始事
before
件
the
が起
string
こ
of
る
serious
前の
deaths,
年に
Rika-chan
もう
already
リカ
knew
ちゃんが
about
それを
them.
知っていたなんて。
Yeah, Rika, are you gonna explain that?
ってことはつまり、
Which means
すべての事件
all
は
the
最
instances
初
were
から
part
予
of
定
someone's
された
scenario.
シナリオってことになるんだよね。これ
That's
は
a pretty important
か
piece
な
of
り大き
information.
い情報だよ。
僕がきっと
It's probably
リ
because
コな
I'm
の
a
で
shrine maiden.
お社
So
様
I
の
knew
お
that
告げ
future
で
from
未来が分か
Oyashiro-sama
ったに違い
defines
ないのですよ。
revelations.
う
I call bullshit.
人間犯人説
For
の
someone who
私として
believes,
は、
like me, who believes in the theory that it was the work of human culprits, I like to deny that.
レナはたたり派な
I
んで
believe in the curse,
ひなみ座を見
so
守
that
るお社
Rika-chan,
様の
who's
生
the
まれ変
living
わりである
incarnation of
リ
the
カちゃん
deity
に
that protects
そういう
Hinamizawa,
神通力も
Oyashiro-sama,
ひょっとするとあったんじゃない
could
か
have
な
divine
って思
power.
うな。
There's a possibility. I think.
ああ、ダメだ。
Ah, no.
人間派はそうい
Someone
う
who
得
thinks
体
it
の
was the
知れ
work
ない
of
フ
a
ァンタジ
man,
ーは一切認
that
め
kind
ない
of
の。
unfounded fantasy will not stand.
事件はすべて
All
人
the
間の
incidents
仕
were
業。
caused by people.
たたりも魔法も
There's
イ
no
カサ
curse
マも
or
ゼロも一
magic
切な
or
し。
or aim boss or cheat codes. Okay, Mion.
魔法とか使
It would be wonderful if I could use magic, though. Okay, okay. Rika, are you telling us something? Are you hinting for future stories? If it's Rika-chan, I could go along with that. Well, some people believe it was the work of humans. The ending was a big revelation. From the first instant until Rika-chan was killed in the Great Disaster, everything was scripted. Knowing that is all one big incident vastly increases the amount of material you can hypothesize with. I think the prophecy is proof in itself that Rika-chan has some divine power. In other words, it's proof that there is some mysterious power at work in Hinamizawa. I think it's proof that the incidents weren't the work of humans alone. The inside of my head is so muddled. I don't know what's going on. Rika, stop playing. You know everything. Oh, that's right. More importantly, that expression that Rika-chan was wearing this time. That was super scary, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm surprised too. I never thought that cute little Rika-chan would be like that. Just for a little bit. Can you show that face one more time? I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to hear that outside the story. Oh. What? What is this? A blackout? Nobody move? Your movements will come face to face with surprise what? Surprise Gatling guns. Mobile homing missiles. Will be cut up by laser sabers for the finisher? Yeah, what's Satoko talking about? What's the meaning of this? Well, now I'll be starting the after party for everybody. We didn't have an appearance this time. She's like, I'm Gary, everybody. He didn't have a major role. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. Yeah, I didn't think that I'd have an appearance here, of all places. I'm delighted, though. Satoko-chan, thank you. Oh, hello, everybody. What? What happened? What happened? Oh my! Did I warn you not to move? Ryuko-san, are you okay? We're fine. You didn't have to go this far. The grudge of somebody not making an appearance is a terrible thing. Satoko has lots of appearances in the main scenario. The grudge of somebody not making an appearance. Her eyes! Damn it. When was she able to set up this many traps? Maybe that's when this place was selected for the venue for the after party. At that point, my traps were already set. Oh, I know. I know there's somebody behind you pulling the strings. There is, isn't it? Come out!
My sister.
Why is she speaking English? Hello, my sister. How are you doing? Shi-chan, hello. I feel sorry for her falling for the same trap twice. I thought it was you, Shion.
何気に主役張ったシナリオまであるの
Even
にこ
though
の
you
ロ
get
ー
to
ゼ
be
系
the main character for a scenario, you have to behave. This is how you behave?
あんたやってくれるじゃない
You've
の
gone and done it.
回答
It
編前
is
の
only
折り
for the
返しお
bonus
まけシナ
scene
リオと
for
はい
the
え
answer arcs.
お姉だけに出番を許す
I
こと
can't let my sister have
私も
all
簡
the
単じゃないっ
appearances.
てことです
I'm not that generous, you know.
ま
Well,
そんなわけ
in
で
any case,
ちょっとさとこを
I
焚き
just
つ
let
けさせて
Satoko
もらい
start a
ま
little
した
something something.
シオン
Shion,
あんた
what is
何
it
が
that you
望みな
want?
の安全圏の
Let's
確
just say
保とでも言い
I'm
ますか
securing myself a little safety buffer.
昨今です
The other
ね
day,
どう
for
いう
some
わけ
reason,
かお
you
姉
are
がじり
certainly
じりと
getting
票を
more
伸ばしてるん
votes
です
in
よ
the
ね
popularity poll.
共通ルー
In
ト
the
の
first
兄
half
ちゃ
of the
ん多いって意見
Watanagashi
が
chapter,
開発陣
there
の
were
間で
lots
も
of
結
people
構
getting
多いんだよ
infatuated with Nichan.
恋路の悪いあん
When
た
your
の分が出
malicious
て
side
プレイヤー
made
処刑は
its
やっと私の魅
appearances,
力に気
all
づ
the
いてき
players
たってこ
finally
とだ
started
ね
noticing my charm. I was like, I need to pause one more time. Just for a quick second, just for a quick second. I'll be right back, be right back. Okay, we're back, we're back, we're back. And when your malicious side made appearance, all the players finally started noticing my charm. Final room. Should I center myself real quick? Let's do that for a quick second. Where is my thing? There we go. I'm still here, just want to... Ah! No! Where are you? There you are. There we go. That's a little bit better. I like this better. When your malicious side made its appearance, all the players finally started noticing my charm.
サトコもたたり
Takako
殺しで好
also
評か
earned
ら
a
し
good reputation during the Higurashi arc.
レナやリカ
Rina
ちゃん
and
には根強
Kika-chan
い
had a
固
strong
定票
baseline
がある
of
し
support.
あんたの人気
Your
も特に
popularity
限って
long
るって
since
ことだね
faded.
そういうわけ
That's
で
why
不穏に票を伸ばすお姉や
I
サ
thought
ト
I'd
コ
take
を
the time to
こ
crush
こい
you
らで一つ
and
叩き落と
Satoko,
しておこう
the
と思
beginning
いま
way
し
to
て
make votes for my comfort.
こういう大仕掛けを打たせてもらったというわけです
シオンさん
Shion-san,
今何と言いま
did
し
you
て
say?
私も叩き落としてって
well?
おちびちゃんは
You're
気
the
づくの
Sludge
が
Nose,
遅
aren't
いよう
you,
で
Shorty?
そら
Here you go. What? Goodbye, all you regulars. Hello to all you
イレギュラーの
irregular
皆
folk.
さん、あんたたち
Oh,
メ
the
イ
main
ンヒロイ
characters
ン
are
は
done
これで
before.
おしまいです。
しおんちゃん
Shion-chan.
そこまで
You
や
didn't
らな
go
くて
that
もいい
far,
んじゃないかな。
probably.
まあまあ、ジローさん。
Jiro-san.
面白いから
This
ほっ
is
ときましょう
interesting,
よ。
so let's just let it be.
私たち
The
二人の出番
number
が
of
いっ
appearances
ぱい
for
増
the
え
both
る
of
の
us
よ
is。going to go up, you know?
ジローさんは私と
Jiro-san,
一緒。
do you not like being
Yeah.
by my side?
あ
That-
そんなこと
that's not
ないよ
Sensei!
先生までしーちゃんに
She
買
tried
収
to
さ
pay
れ
you
ちゃっ
off
たんです
too?
か？
ごめんね、リュウグウさん。
What is this?
シオンさんが次回のシナリオからは教えて千恵先生のコーナーを作ってくれるって
Called
いうから
Teach Me Chi Sensei. What the heck? So I just.
さ
Well then.
誰から恥ずかしい処刑をしてあげましょうかね。大仕掛けを手伝
Maybe
ってくれた
Satoko.
お礼に
Since she helped me set
サトコ
this
から
all
か
up.
な。
それは許しませんよ
I won't allow that.
ト
Hey.
監督
Coach.
なんだか珍しく
Because
頼も
he's
し
so
く見えます
reliable for
わ。
once.
さとこちゃんに対する牢石は
Alright, Kyosuke Ire. Should not allow any aggression
許
towards
すわけにはいきま
Sakuko-chan.
せん私も脇役
I
一派ではあ
may
ります
also
が
be a
怪
supposed
獣
character,
できると思
but I
わ
don't
ない
think you
こ
can
とです
persuade
よ
me so easily.
ありゃ、
Oh,
この後に
then
収
you're
録予定の
saying you
実
want to
録
withdraw from
サ
being
トコ
the
メイ
lead
ド
in
教育着
documentary?
せ替え編の主役
Satoko
は
made
降
training for
板し
sub
たい
chapter
と
that we plan on filming after this?
シオン様
Why is that? Why did they make that boing noise? Why? Why?
この入りへ一生どこまでもつ
I
いてまい
Kyosuke
りま
Ire
す
shall follow you the dust of hell.
怪獣早っ。
That was fast.
さーて、
Well then,
これで
for
全
this
て
I'm
私の
holding all
支
the
給ですね。
cards.
これからはお疲れ
Even
様
this
会もシナ
after
リオも
party scene too.
すべて私の
I'll
思
have
うまま
everything
に進め
proceed
させて
as
もらい
I
ます
see
ね。
fit.
あれ
Huh?
一人足りない。
We're missing somebody.
シオン様
Shion-sama.
リュウグウさんがいません
Diego-san isn't here.
いつの間に抜け出
She
したの
escaped at
か
some point.
いた、
There she is.
リュウグウさん。さっき身動きしてはいけません
Should
って
I
言ったはずですよ。
Did I just tell you you shouldn't move?
レナちゃん
Rina-chan,
悪いことは言わない
I won't do anything to hurt you, but it's
抵抗しない方が無難だよ。
easier if you don't resist.
レナ、
I'm sorry,
悪いけど
but all
こ
this
んな
is
やり方お
really
かしいと
bizarre.
思います。
それは何の真
What are you
似？
trying to do?
目明かし編の台
The
本？
Mikashi script?
なるほど。
I see.
登
You're
場
planning
回
to
数を
secure
削
your
られ
role
る
before
前
any
に
of
確
your
保しておこうと
lines
いう
get
魂
cut.
胆ね。
Alright, cut out, thank you.
無駄な抵
Resistance
抗。
futile.
レナさん、
Rina-san,
無駄な抵抗はよして
you should
お
stop
と
your
なしくした方がい
resistance
いと思い
and
ます
just。come along peacefully.
私をあんまり
If
怒
you
ら
make
せ
me
ると
angry enough,
あなただけ
then
でなく
not only will you
お
suffer,
姉たちの処
but
遇
you
も変わってくるこ
also
と
my
になり
dear
ますよ。
sister as well.
台本を確保したくらいじゃ
You can't do anything
何も
just
で
by
き
getting
ない
your
わ。
hands on the script.
レナ、
Rina,
ここは悔
I'm
しいけど
sorry.
言う通りにした方が。
but do what they say.
大丈夫、安心
All
して。
right, don't worry.
この目明かし編の
Now
台
that we
本が
have the
加わったこと
Makashi
で、
script,
レナたちはこ
we
の
can
状況を
revise
逆
the
転できる
situation.
の。逆転？
Wait, revise the situation?
一体どんな秘策があるというんで
What
すの？
are you scheming?
レナさんは
レナさん
結構笑わせる
You're
の
gonna
が
make
う
me
まい
laugh?
ですね。なら試してみ
Then
たらどう
why
で
don't you
す
go ahead and try?
その逆
Show
転って
me
や
how
つ
you're
を
going to
試しに
turn
見
this
せてくだ
around.
さい。
しーちゃんは甘えてる。
You're spoiled, Shi-chan.
本 にいくら出番がな
if
か
you
った
didn't
からっ
have
て
any appearance
こうし
in
て
the
お
main
疲れ様
scenario.
会でこれだ
You
けの
had
出番を得てい
so
るの
much
に
screen time during the after
泣いてるよ。
party. You're spoiled.
私がいつ
Well,
甘えたっ
is
て
that
言うん
you
です
saying I was spoiled?
しーちゃんは分かってない。
You don't understand, Shi-chan.
たとえお疲れ様会だけといえども出演し
After,
他
if
の
it's
シ
just
ナ
the
リオ
after
にもあれ
party,
だけ登場してお
you
いて
still have an
この狼
appearance.
藉。
You also appeared in a lot of the previous scenarios.
そんなしーちゃんを
There's somebody
許
who
すことが
resents
で
you
きな
from
い
the
地
depths
獄
of
の
hell,
怨嗟が
who can't forgive you.
ほら聞こえ
Listen,
てこない。
can't you hear it, Shi-chan?
そうか
That's right.
わかりました
I understand now.
そうか
Get it?
ケイちゃんか
Kai-chan!
そうだよね
That's right.
お疲れ
You
様
never
会
had
は
an
いつも
appearance
出番
during the
なし
after parties.
そのケイちゃんを差
There's
し
no
置
way
いてお疲
Kei-chan
れ
will
様
allow
会
somebody
占
to
領なんてケイちゃん
monopolize the
が
after
許すはずはない
parties all to themselves without him.
なるほど
I see.
で
So,
その
how's it,
いまだに収録
Kei-chan?
居残り中のケイちゃ
Going
ん
to
が
appear here
どうやって
when
ここへ
he's
現
still
れ
in
る
the
と
studio recording lines.
まさかケイ
It
ちゃん
sounded
を
like anyone
私たち
here
の
was
誰
to
かが
pass
追い抜い
his
たわけではあるまい
workload.
そう思う
That's
のが
just
し
your
ーちゃん
self-centered
の
way
慢
of
心
thinking,
だよ。
Shi-chan.
いけない
No,
あれは
that's the
赤
voice.
坂編の収録ワード数表
That's the voice word count from Akasaka's part.
チリ先生レナちゃんを取り押
Hold
さえて
Rena-chan. She says they hold Rena-chan back.
もう遅い
Ah, it's too late.
よ。いよいよ出番だよ。
It's finally your time, Cage-kun. The voice. He's back. The boy is back.
その声
The
は
voice is
ケイちゃん
Kei-chan.
まさか
No, wait.
ケイちゃんは
He's
収
still
録居
supposed
残
to
り
be
中のは
recording
ず
lines at the studio.
そうさ
You're right.
今ま
I
では
was
そうだっ
until
た
I was until just
収
now.
録居残りのたびに残りワ
Every
ード
time I
数で
get
誰かを
left
抜け
in
ば
the studio,
お疲れ
I
様会
get
に参
told
加してもいい
you
よ
can't join the
と
after
言われ
party
続けて
if you beat someone on the remaining word count.
それでも他のキャラと
But
比べ
I
ても
always
2
have
倍
2 or
あるいは
3
3倍
times
以
the
上あ
script
る分
volume
量をこな
of
すの
other
が不可能
characters, making it impossible.
というか
It's like the
最初から
sound
参加させ
director
る気
doesn't
ないだ
want
ろ
me to
音響監督参
doesn't
上
want me doesn't want to let me join the after party from the get-go.
と思って諦めて
At
きたが
least that's what I thought.
ついに俺は抜いた
Finally,
ある
someone
キャラを
overtook me. A certain character.
シオン
Shion,
これを見やがれ
face your eyes on this.
え
What?
そう
That's right.
主役として登
She's
場パターン
now
が増
she's
えたシオ
appearing
ン
in
は
more scenes
当
as the
然
main
喋るワード数
character.
もこれま
Shion
での
has to
2
speak
倍
twice the lines that she has so far.
しかもミオンとキャ
And
スト
since
が同じ
Shion
だか
and
ら
Neon have
さ
the
らに
same
2
VA
倍
cast, that's double again.
その結果
As a result, I've
俺は
finally been
ようや
excused
く
from staying
つ
back.
いに居残り免除そして
Me
シオン
Shion, it's
今
your
度
turn to be
はお
left
前が居
behind.
残りだ
No way.
私
I had to
次
speak
の
this
目明
much
かし
for
ってこんなに喋るんですかケイちゃんが
Kei-chan's
約
about
500で
500,
シオン
and
は
Shion has
2700
over
超え
2,700 words.
これ普通のアドベンチャーゲームなら
That's
全
like the
キャラ
total
の
of
総
all
合
the
ゲー
characters
ムだ
together
よ
in a normal adventure game.
しかもこれにミ
Further
ーの
adding
数
on
が加
Neon's
わるのです。
lines.
その
It's
数
a
や
total
なんと
of... I don't want to know! I don't want to know!
という
So
わけでだ
With that,
レナ
oh,
感謝するぜ
Rina, you have my thanks.
月にすら見放され
Even when the moon abandons the land and shrouds in true darkness,
漆黒の魔王
the demon lord of the darkest black, Keiichi Marabara, shall appear! What? What is going on? I love it. 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 I see. If it's like this, he can appear even if he doesn't have any character art. There's no character or background art, so it's really easy on the production staff. Sion. You look like you're the main character in a tragedy, but from my point of view, it's more like a comedy. It's like you've gotten a little carried away. Every after party. Always being last in the studio, missing every after recording meal. Witness my anger, my grudge, and all my sorrow. I shall insist it all upon you.
なんだかケイチ
Almost
君
like Cage
悪の化
can
身
see
み
some
た
sort
い
of
だな
bad guy transformation sequence. It isn't some sort of transformation. I'll have you know, I've always been a demon lord. As of right now, this world which is evolved me within true darkness shall dance upon the palm of my hand. Within this world of darkness, there are none who can oppose me.
ケイチ君
Scary? Keiichi-kun scary? The age of the frightened Higurashi has come to an end. From here on out begins the dawn of a perverted and cutesy Higurashi. What did you say? Maibara-sama, bring me with you. You know it's coach. That's the first step. I'll show out Doctor. I'll show Doctor come coach my power. What is this? Darko-san is in a miniskirt nurse outfit? And it has some pink pink one like you have like you find a glad. He knows what he's doing. It is a proper, pure, and innocent white. What the heck is wrong with these men? Even though she's a nurse, she doesn't appear in that outfit even once during the main scenario. You gotta be kidding me. Then, our next stage target.
レナ
And
これじゃ全然形勢は逆転してないよ
this doesn't change the situation at all.
新しいピンチを迎えちゃって
I
るよ
just turned a different type of crisis.
こんな真っ
I
暗
think
じゃ
we
レ
can
ナに
just
もどう
start.
しようもないよ
さ
Now
て
then,
次は
who should I
誰に
make
ど
wear
んな
what
衣装を
what
着せようか
next?
ね手堅
Maybe
く
a nice school uniform, gym clothes, school swimsuit, triple
コンボで
combo.
も決めとくか前
That's
原様
all.
最高
You're
っ
the
す
best.
その
How
後は
about
バ
Bunny
ニー
Girl
さんにコンパニオ
or
ンに
Booth Babe?
いえい
Plus,
えレオ
no,
タ
no,
ー
no.
ド姿
A
もいいです
leotard could be
ね
good too.
いやい
No
や
way.
いっそみん
How
な
about
お
making
色
her
気
buy
全
hype?
開にしちゃうってのはどうでしょう
No.
もちろん
Of course.
靴下は残すのであります
Leave the socks on. Okay.
それいい
That's a good idea.
分かってるじゃねえ
You
か
know your stuff.
監督俺
I feel, Coach. I feel like we're finally seeing eye to eye here.
いえいえ前
Wait,
原さん
Maibara-san.
いえ
No.
ケイ
Okay.
私のことは
Call me Eerie
こ
from
れから
now
はイ
on.
リートドクター
Call
イ
me
リート
Dr.
お
Eerie.
呼びよケイ
Kitty.
僕たちのことも
You
忘れて
can't
こ
forget
ない
about
よ
us.
トミーとクラウド
Tommy and Cloud
常に
are,
ケイのそばにあり
are
ま
on your
すよ
side, K.
うん
Oh god, this is like those weird episodes in Ray. In
トミ
Tommy,
ークラウド
Cloud.
ついに揃ったぜ
Finally all here.
四天王
The Elite Four have arrived.
ついに
Finally,
K を筆頭
With
に
K the head,
悪の四天王
the
が
evil
揃い
Elite Four made their grand entrance.
暗黒を得てついに地上に降臨を果
The
たした
complete
漆黒
darkness,
の
the
魔王
demon lord of the
前原
darkest
圭
depth,
一
Heihachi Marlborough was finally able to reach the surface world.
その魔力は
His
絶
magical
大に
power
してい
was
る
without equal.
この闇では
And in this
誰にも立
darkness,
ち向かえない
nobody could stand against him.
屈するほかない
All must bow.
ああヒロインたちは
Will the
この
heroines
闇
be
を
able
抜け
to
出せず
escape the darkness
魔王たちの
and
思
be
うがまま
forced
に
to submit to the
恥
will
ずか
of the
しい
demon
衣装
lord?
を次々と
Forced to
強
wear
要され
embarrassing outfits after embarrassing outfits.
永遠に等身大
Being
着せ
used
替え
as
人
life
形
size
の
dressed up
扱い
dolls
を
for
さ
all
れてしま
eternity.
うのか最高だぞ
That's
もっ
great.
とやれっ
More, more.
ていうか
By the way,
つくみずはちゃん
squirrels,
と
limbs
旧タ
are
イ
the
プだ
classic
な
type, right?
競泳型だったら
We'll
許
forgive
さ
you
ん
the
ぞ
the competitive swimming
た
style.
く
Damn it.
シオン
Shion,
あんたのせいでこうなったんだから
it's you in
あ
and
んたなんとか
of
しな
like
さい
this.
よ
So do something about it.
大丈夫ですおね
Alright, sis.
暗闇の中で
It's
真の
on
力を得
anyone
る
who
のは
can
ケイちゃんだ
unleash
け
their
じゃない
true
です
power amid the darkness.
そんな都合のいい見方こ
If you have
こに
such
い
a
ましたっ
convenient
け
ally,
チョコザイ
you're
だ
rather
その先しよう
granted Shion Sanazaki.
ちなみに校長
Also,
先
you
生
were
を期待し
expecting
てる
help
なら
from the
残
principal.
念だな
That's too bad.
男子本会ここに来
Which
や
is
が
the,
れ
it's not. It's not. Maybe a little bit. This
最善を尽くすべ
is
しと
the ultimate desire of young men. Call yourself a man. Do your best. It's written in all this nice little upright slip here.
もちろん新
Of
登
course,
場の赤坂
you
さ
won't
ん
be
に
able
頼
to
ろうと
rely
して
on
も
the
無駄だ
newcomer
ぜ
Akasaka-san either.
昨日からお嬢さんを親類に預けて
He's been on a
夫婦
private
水入
couple
らずで
hot
温
spring
泉旅行だ
vacation.
そうだからな
His wife's family set for him yesterday.
つまり
In other words,
八方塞がりってわけさ
the bases are covered.
甘いですねケイちゃん
You're so naive, Kei-chan.
安易に闇の世界を生
Even
み
the
出して
characters who are
妄
able
想
to
全
reveal
開
their
しちゃら
true
か
form
万
in the
歳ってやって
darkness.
しまうととある誰かも真の姿を表すことが可能になるのですというわけで
She sensei.
先生そういうわけです
That's how it
前原
is.
君
Marabara-kun.
真っ暗でよく見えませんけどなんだか知恵先生の服装が変わってますわね
I can't tell. Oh, sorry. It's so dark, I can't really tell. But it seems Chi Sensei's outfit is different.
何ですの
What are those?
あの両手にいっぱいの剣は
Are those swords in her hands?
まさかそんな
They couldn't be.
それはいくらなんでも反則それ以上は内緒なの
Any
です
more
よ
than that is a secret.
前原君
There
少
was
し
just a
お
little
板
too
が
much
過ぎた
mischief
ようで
on
す
your part.
これ以上は
The
教会
church
も
can't
見
overlook
逃せ
any
ま
more of
せん
this.
ちょっと待てよ
Oh, wait a minute.
これはないだ
No,
ろ
wait,
ずるいだろ
Chibi,
作品違
it's
うじゃね
against
え
the
か
rules.
おい
She
こん
can't
な
do
の
this,
なしだろ
right?
そ
But you
の
can't use
で
that
で
big
かいの
one?
は早すぎる
Her arc drive was has invisibility.
あんた
The
その
seventh,
動きは絶対人間や
the
めてんだろ
seventh what?
いや
What's she doing now? What the heck was this after party? This was just a complete and utter insanity, and I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how to feel about it. Oh, is this still going?
改めましてこんにちは
Hello, Rena-san.
この度は日暮の泣く頃に水暇つぶしをお楽しみくださり
I
誠
had
にありがとうございました
no. Thanks is all mine. I had a blast. I think you already know this, but Higurashi, When They Cry, is a type of visual novel without any choices. Therefore, compared to adventure-type visual novels with their branching routes to take, it's much closer to the experience of a book or a movie. Because of that, there is the option out there that this should not be called a game per se. If you're just watching it like a book or movie, Higurashi When They Cry isn't really a game. True. That's why, as you know, there are lots of mysteries referenced during the course of the experience. When you challenge those, this work will become a proper game.
プレイ ヤーの皆さん
All
には
players have the
この
privilege of
謎に満ちた
scrutinizing this
物語を
mystery
さま
from
ざまな
story
角度から
from all
捉
sorts
え
of angles.
吟味し例え
For
ば劇
example,
中に散りばめ
forming
ら
a theory
れた
about
謎
the
につい
mysteries
て
during
推
the
理を
course
し
of the
そ
story.
れを発表して
Sharing
反響を得たりすることもまた楽しいかと思います。
Sharing them with your friends, or receiving their theories in return could be fun. In any case, the next chapter starts the answer arcs. We tentatively called it Mekashi, but answers are a sad thing. Based on what is revealed, all the possibilities that you were allowed to imagine until now will suddenly become refined down to a few. Based on that logic, we think that right here, before the answer arcs, is probably where people can enjoy this work we call Higurashi when they cry the most. By any chance, while you are reading this, you already have Mekashi chapter at hand? Please enjoy the hypothesizing theory and fantasizing to the fullest before you start. That's where the real charm of the series takes place. Sorry for saying something so abundant. There's nothing better than nothing better we like than you for you to enjoy Higurashi when they cry.
それでは素敵な夜
Well
長
then, have a long and pleasant night.
ひなみ沢村で
We're waiting for
皆
you
さんをお
all
待
in
ちしていますね。
Hinamizawa.
レナと遊んで
If
く
you
れる
come
な
and
ら
play with Rena,
一緒に
I'd
宝
love to go
探し
treasure
に行きた
hunting
いな。
together. You got how many tips were all in session? Got 8. 13 altogether? 14. Okay. Or so little. Alright, everybody. That was Higurashi Himatsubushi, the time-killing chapter. Yeah, it was kind of a short. It was a lot shorter than the other ones, which is awesome because of how long these stories are. But it was also kind of fun being the mindset of another character. But if Mikashi is the next one, then we're going to be in a mindset of someone else than Kei-chan. And it's going to be a very unique experience, to say the least. So, what do we check in? Tomorrow night we are going to tomorrow night. Oh, Blair Witch. It's Blair Witch one more time. Going back to Blair Witch. Going back to Blair Witch. Which is gonna be fun. Hopefully we can make it out of the woods alive. I don't think we'll finish it in time. But we'll try. We will try, okay? Okay. Alright, everybody, I do need to go. Have a good night. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you all for showing up and all that jazz I'm really saying. Alright. Be lovely. We'll meet each other sometime soon. We'll meet again when the Higurashi cry. When the Higurashi cried. When the Higurashi cry. Ah! How did I get this lovely face? This concerned face. I think I saw something in the corner of my mind. It's not pretty. It wasn't a pretty thought. It was not a pretty thought. Oh, no, it was a happy thought. No, it was a happy thought. No! Okay. I keep pressing buttons I shouldn't keep pressing. I'll see y'all later. Have a good night. Have a good night. Ah!